Why can't I ever find anything that I want to just go to? It should still be up. Okay, this is it. I will give you music in just 1 second. I'm fixing an error in my sermon for this morning, my anti sermon. I'm going to let somebody up here, they can talk. Yay, Grandma's here. Okay. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. All right, let's start tapping the screen like you're used to kiss your mother's nose. Crystal likes to get up to 1,000 taps before she starts, so let's see if we can get her there. And then go, of course, share out the live because Crystal's awesome and we want everyone to come and hear what she has to say today. Her anti-sermons are amazing and they make me cry almost every time, but in a good way. Oh,
Save
she's,
as a PDF. Okay.
oh my
All right.
word.
Now I
Always.
gotta do this, and we're gonna go here. We're gonna go live on YouTube. I'm so behind today because I had to work on this anti sermon because it's just really that good today. So,
Love it. Love the
um,
positive energy there. My dog just found a treat. I don't know where she got it from.
and then I want to talk to women today. I hope we get some. We might only get men who want to answer the question because for some reason men like to answer the question for women. Um, but I want to know, why are we doing this? Why are
Women,
we?
why do
How
you
come
worship patriarchy? Is that what it says?
it's supposed to say why?
All the good mornings. Thank you for those. Oh, Tahir, I see you. Wonderful, wonderful. Who else do I see? La Paquette. I always forget how to say your name, but good morning.
I do too. I always say it funny. That's
There
what
you
I
go.
say.
Beautiful.
Okay. I started to type it over here and I was like, that doesn't sound right. I
Mhm.
was like, did you see me going like this? I was like, what is that saying? I was rushing. Could you tell? Because I was like, I'm already so late. And then I started rushing on everything. Okay, now we got
That's okay.
that
You're
going
here.
there. Now we need to go here. We need to go TikTok. It is a whole ordeal. Okay,
It
it is
is.
a whole ordeal. I saw Rabbi Hannah pop in. I want to know if Rabbi Hannah has watched A Seat at the Table yet. I
Hmm.
want to know what she thinks of it. Have you watched it, right?
About it either.
I have, but I don't remember it much because I only watched it once and I have dyslexia.
It's
So I
my
have to watch it
video that
twice.
I just did called A Seat at the Table. Oops, sorry about this.
Okay. I'll look it up again and watch it again. So I can remember it.
Okay, got this going now. This is all good. Let's close all these
Oh, thank
tabs.
you. I did say it right. La Paquette.
I used to say La Paquette all the time. And people are like, you're trying too hard, Crystal. You're
It's too
just
hard.
trying too damn hard,
It is a
okay?
beautiful name. I have to
It
say that.
really is. I love it. And I was like, oh, okay. Welcome in everybody. I gotta do I don't even need to do all this. I realized I can just read it from where it is now. Now that I'm using two devices, I could do stuff like this. Okay. We now are going over on the YouTubes. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Keep tapping the screen, sharing out the live. We need to get to 100 shares. We are at 50, so we're halfway there. I haven't shared it out. I will do that. Um, let's get that. You know, it used to let me just push top supporters or whatever, and then it would send it out to all of them. And now it makes you, at least on my iPad, it makes me click it, but then I have to go in and individually tap each
Oh,
supporter.
it doesn't have a button for all.
It used to.
That's
Like it used to just
irritating.
be, yeah. So anyway, I've sent it out to a few people. Y'all send it out to a few more. Tap the screen. Remember the goal is this: 100,000 likes by the end of the live. I'm live for 3 hours today. I'll be live till 2 p.m. If we reach the gift goal, I'll stay live for another hour. Um, but yeah, thank you all for being here. We are going through the Bible, doing what we lovingly call anti sermons. I'm your auntie, and I'm giving you a sermon. It was supposed to be anti sermons, but ChatGPT thought that's not what I was saying. So ChatGPT changed it to anti, and I liked it. It stuck. Okay, so they are all posted in my Discord if you want to read any of them. What we're doing is we're going through the Bible and we are giving voices to every girl, girls, woman, or women mentioned, named, or unnamed in the Bible in chronological order to the best of my human ability. If I ever miss one or something, I apologize. I'm doing the best I can. It's it's a difficult task because of the way they are not named. And so today we are on Leah, and I have an amazing anti sermon ready for you guys this morning on Leah. I'm going to play a little music for you guys to start this morning off. Okay, so I like to ask, do you guys want a seat at the table, by the way? You can now pre save the triptych on Spotify. The links for that are in all the Discords. Just go check out my channels and any of the Discords that you might be a part of. But you can go pre-save it now on Spotify. It should be out any day now on all of your streaming. It is the first time I've ever released something, so I'm really excited about it. But do you guys want to hear Act One right now, or do you want me to play a different song? You guys let me know in the comment. Do we want to listen to Seat at the Table Act One? It's really weird.
Wow, what a
My
choice.
my TikTok, for some reason, whenever I'm live on my iPad, it wants me to swipe out of my own show. Like it literally just came up and told me you can, like, don't you want to scroll right now, Crystal? Why aren't you scrolling? It's weird. If I don't get an answer, that's what you're going to hear is Act One of A Seat at the Table.
Sounds good to
Now,
me.
all right, A Seat at the Table is a triptych. A triptych is, you want Act Two? Okay, we can do it. We don't have to go in order. If you don't want to go in order, we can listen to Act Two. Um, a seat at the table is a triptych. A triptych is when you do three pieces of artwork that connect. So you might have noticed that, like in the 90s, early 2000s, there were artworks that sold in many home goods stores that were three pieces that you hung together, a big piece in the middle and then two smaller pieces on either end, things like that. That's called a triptych. You've listened to one many times. You need Act Two right now. Okay, I don't mind going out of order. We could do that. Um, and so I didn't mean to write this way. It was supposed to be one piece. It was supposed to be a song about what tables you choose in life and who chooses what tables in life to sit at. And I thought about it a lot because I've said it many times that if you sit with Nazis, you're.
Hmm.
And I thought about how I keep saying that. And I thought about decisions I made in my life where I chose not to sit with people anymore because of who they chose to sit with. And then I thought about how somehow I fell into this community And it's been the most amazing community I've ever had in my entire life. I'm almost 60 years old, and I now sit at tables with activists, with scholars, with poets, with literary artists, artists of every kind. I sit with some of the most amazing artists in the world. I get to sit at their tables. And I wondered how I got here, how I got so lucky to be able to, to just be in your company. And that goes for people like Grana Zana, like Tahir, like Silly Goose. I do not know what I've done to deserve this honor. And so we're going to listen to Act Two for Tahir this morning. And then we'll get started on the anti sermon. So here's the thing while we listen to
Crystal,
Act, yeah.
Crystal, I want to say I'm very glad you did it as a triptych, as my new word for today, because a lot of people try and squish too much into one song and then it misses the message.
And that is what, okay, so what happened is since I use an app called Suno to do my music and vocals, and I produce those over there, it wouldn't allow me to use all my lyrics. It said the song was too long. And I was very frustrated at that point. I didn't know what to do. I was like, what are you talking about? I can't edit this shit out. Like, I can't. I mean, I could maybe take out some words, but not like seriously, I would damage it. Right. So, I was going with back and forth with Chat GPT to figure out what I could do. And ChatGPT said, "Oh, we'll make it three different songs on Suno, but like use the same, musical prompt." Well, that doesn't work with it actually. I'm not a musician, so I don't know how to write music, and you can do that with Suno, but I don't. So when I ask it to generate music, it's a very randomized thing. Even if I'm giving it prompts, it still randomizes to a degree, and that's when it came to me that it could just be like a small musical where the songs have a similar feel, a similar vibe because they go together, but it's three separate pieces that can play by themselves, but they're meant to play together. So that's how it came out.
Wonderful.
I was like, I'm just going to do it this way because
Love it.
I don't want to compromise the piece, which means I had to add more words because I needed to make sure that each song could also stand on its own and
Right.
that it told you that it was three pieces and that it told you to go listen to the next piece. So it ended
Beautiful.
up even being longer than it originally was by having to do it in these separate pieces. So you guys, I do have a new flash goal. Please, if you can, do the flash goal. I think it's just 1 coin each. And we're going to listen to Act Two right now. Ty here is a request. Buddy, good to see you. Hound, good to see you. Welcome in. Silly Goose, Rachio. Everybody, welcome in. Please, please, please go tell any woman you love or any man you love to join us this morning so they can hear my story on Leia. I think you will really enjoy it, and I think a lot of people will benefit from it. So here you go, though. Here is Act Two of A Seat at the Table. A seat at the table. Who sits? Who stays? Who looks away? I watch a room dressed up as calm, soft light, forever charm. Easy jokes and easy laughs, no uniforms, no arms. A seat at the table. Who sits? Who stays? Who looks away? She's there, your friend, the gentle one, the kind you trusted most. She never shouts, she never sneers, she never leaves the toast. But listen close. They laugh about pronouns like it's clever wit. Roll eyes, call it play. They say trans bodies are the threat, bathrooms where monsters stay. They say think of the children. They say safety first. They say it's all enough to make the violence worse. Your friend says nothing. She smiles, she stays. She lets it pass as humor and lets the lie replay.
doesn't say she agrees, she doesn't say she won't, but she keeps pulling up a chair where dignity is a joke. A seat at the table. Who sits, who stays, who looks away? I watch you notice what that costs, the silence dressed as grace. I watch you feel the table tilt and recognize the space. So you stand not to debate your humanity, not to translate your pain. You don't sit where lives are treated as a topic to explain. You don't perform your boundaries, you don't beg them to see. You leave the chair untouched and refuse their cruelty. And hear me now, because this still remains when laughter shields their cruelty. It shares in all the blame. I saw you refuse the table, then I saw you choose the line. You didn't raise your voice, you moved your feet. And that is how you don't align. A seat at the table. Who sits, who stays, who looks away? So don't stop here. This isn't the only rule. Another table waits ahead, and its truth will come too soon.
That is Act Two of A Seat at the Table. It is now available to be pre-saved for Spotify, and it'll be out soon on all of your music streaming services under Crystaljae, A Seat at the Table triptych. And yeah, that so make sure you go pre-save it. And my
That.
other album will be coming out soon. I have this was supposed to be the final song for my original album,
Mm-hmm.
but it needed to be its own thing. So I'll write one more song and we'll get that other album out for you guys.
Wow, that was so good, and it's so true how I wrote notes so I wouldn't so I'd wouldn't forget. But it's so true how we sit and we make that decision if we're going to sit, stay, or look away every time we
Yep.
sit down with whatever group we're in. And that just really hit me. And about the people laughing about trans. Like, how many times do we, just because we don't want to start an argument, we just
Yeah.
look away and we're like, oh, I'm just going to pretend they're not even saying anything.
Yeah. And that was a true story. I talked about it yesterday. That happened in our community. There was somebody that was my friend, and I knew that she was very, very, very good friends and still is with a creator that is a bigot, and that they have said these very same things on lives. And I decided to go to her in private and tell her that I couldn't be her friend anymore, and I wasn't asking her to make a choice. I was letting her know that I had made a choice, and
Yeah.
I couldn't be anymore. And I took something privately and told her privately, and she decided to make it very public,
Oof.
and it became a big, huge thing. And yes, there were lines drawn, and there
Yeah.
are people who have blocked me now and hate me because I am not her friend anymore.
Wow. Well, and
And
did you imply the cost of silence is choosing cruelty? Is that
I
what you
I
said?
did I did I
Wow. Oh, because we
we
forget sometimes.
explained that these things are actually harming actual humans in our
Right.
actual community. We named the people that it was harming. We said the names, because what happened was, I say we now because after I did that, she went to a mutual friend, Nick Graves, and asked Nick Graves to talk to me, talk some sense into me. And Nick said, but this is harming people we love. Because one of the
Oh,
people she hangs around is a maggot, okay? And um not just hangs around, this is heavily supports this person.
right.
And we explained these policies that are harming actual people in our real community that, and we named the names, and that she was like, I'm not doing it though. I'm not the one.
Mm.
And we try to explain, you aren't the one, but you are supporting the one.
Right.
And I love people, I really do. And I still to this day do not think she is actively doing it, but you can't be passive. This isn't a neutral stance. These are human rights.
Right.
These are actual people being harmed physically. And so if you listen to Act One, you will hear another story of somebody passively thinking that it's okay to literally sit with Nazis. So Act One is about Berlin in 1939. Act Two is about modern, and Act Three is about how the tables you choose to sit at ultimately decide whose tables you're allowed to sit at. And I'm lucky enough to sit at tables with people like you, Grandma Zana, and people like Buddy and Ty here because I don't sit at those tables. You
Right.
allow me to sit at your table because you know my character, and you say, I want to sit at Crystal's table. I want her to sit at my table because I know whose tables she refuses.
Right. And you're not talking about people, it's clear that you're not talking about people like the gentleman who sits at the table. He's a black man who sits at the table with neo Nazis and other people like that to show them who that
No,
people
no,
like
it's not
him
a,
are.
people who are protesting. It's
Right.
people who
Right.
are doing it to
Exactly.
align. And no,
Exactly.
no, it's not people who are
It's
protesting. Nope, it's
very
not the
clear
ones who
that it's
sit at
that
a
way.
counter and say,
Right.
God damn it, we're not moving. Okay. I'm
Exactly.
talking about people who do it to align so that they can
Right.
actually benefit while still saying, okay, I'm benefiting off of the harm of others, but I'm also a good person.
Right, exactly. I like that very much. I felt it was very clear. So, but I just wanted to
Okay.
bring it up
Yeah,
just
yeah,
to
I'm glad you did.
clarify
Well, listen,
it.
I'm not going to make you guys keep waiting. I know that there are not 20 people in here, but this is such a good sermon. I want to get it started for you guys. So, um, I want to, I want to tell somebody real quick that I was starting just in case she wants to join. But, here we go. You guys, today we're going to talk about Leia the Less. That's what I like. I name my sermons different things, and that's what I decided to name this one. We're in Genesis 29:16 through 17. I always feel like I should play music in the background. I should play like some like organ or something or something. Okay, I'm sorry. Now Laban, oh, sorry, I already told you what verses. Genesis 29:16 and 17. Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful and lovely in form. This is how Leah enters the story, not with a calling, not with a promise, not with a spoken, not with a word spoken by her. She enters through comparison, defined by birth order, defined by contrast, defined by what her body is said to lack. I'm sorry, my mind is like wandering for a second because of my ADHD. So I have to double check something or I won't stop thinking about it, and then I won't be able to concentrate on what I am saying. Um, I just really want to make sure that I fixed the issue I was trying to fix. Yes, okay. Just had to make sure. It's one of those ADHD things. Like you do it and then you just have to check again and go, wait, did you really do? Because I'm so afraid my ADHD brain will tell me I've done something that I haven't actually done, and then I'm upset. Okay, let's go back. She's defined by birth order, defined by contrast, defined by what her body is said to lack. She is positioned as the lesser option before she speaks. Before she wants, before anyone asks her what she would choose, Rachel is named beautiful. Leia is explained. From the very beginning, her value is framed as something that must be justified, accounted for, made acceptable. And before we go any further, I want to remind you who is running this household. This is Laban. If that name sounds familiar, it should. We've already met him. Laban is Rebecca's brother, Jacob's uncle, which means Leah and Rachel are Jacob's first cousins. Yes, that kind of family tree. And if you remember Laban from earlier in the story, you remember his defining trait. His interest is always financial. When Abraham's servant arrives looking for a wife for Isaac, Laban notices the jewelry before he notices the person. He responds to wealth before relationships. As Rabbi Bert points out, this isn't incidental. It's it's character. Laban's world runs on profit, leverage, and advantage. People are resources. Marriage is transaction. Daughters are assets. That same man is in charge here. So when we read this story, we are not watching a romantic misunderstanding. We are watching a calculated exchange inside a family system where greed has already shown us how it operates. This story isn't about Laban, but his fingerprints are everywhere. Leah's name in Hebrew is Leah. Unlike many biblical names, Leah does not come with a neat celebratory meaning. There is no consensus, and that uncertainty matters. The most common scholarly associations connect her name to ideas like weary, grieved, or exhausted. All right, go on, buddy. Good boy. And I'll have to let him back in just a minute.
That was good though. Good timing for that. Weary, grief,
Okay.
just like my dog is exhausted right now.
Yes. Some scholars point out to an Akkadian root that can mean cow or wild cow, an image tied to labor, endurance, and productivity, not beauty, not delight, usefulness. And we shouldn't rush past that because cow is not a neutral word in modern language. When people are angry at women, when they want to humiliate them, when they want to strip them of desirability, that is still one of the insults they reach for. When we call women a cow, we are dehumanizing them. They are now an unattractive, stupid, common barn animal. That insult doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from a long tradition of equating women's worth with how pleasing they are to look at and how useful they are to others. So when Leia's name is associated with labor and endurance, with a working animal rather than a beloved one, we need to hear what the culture is already saying about her. And I'll be right back and let my dog in. I have coyotes, so I
Nice.
even though I have a gated yard, I just got to make sure they don't, you know, get him because he's little. They could jump over the fence or something. Okay,
Just finished about how beautiful they are.
thank you. Rabbinic tradition later leans into this by teaching that Leah's eyes were weak because she wept constantly. She's imagined as a girl who cried herself into impairment, pleading for a different future, begging not to be handed off to the wrong man. Whether or not that explanation reflects history, it reveals something important about how her story is handled. Leia's suffering becomes explanatory. Her pain becomes the reason she is who she is. Her grief is turned into a backstory instead of injustice. Her name does not describe who she is, it describes what is expected of her. She is named for endurance. She is expected to carry what others will not. She is taught to absorb disappointment quietly. And when a community gives someone a name like that, it does not describe reality, it shapes it. Names are instructions. They tell us who we are supposed to be, what we are allowed to want, and how much pain we are expected to tolerate. Leah's name prepares her to survive, not to be chosen. And survival is not the same thing as love. Leah's story is found in Genesis 29 through 35. Leah is the older daughter of Laban. Her younger sister Rachel is described as beautiful. Leah is not. Jacob worked 7 years in order to marry Rachel. On the wedding night, Laban deceives him and gives him Leah instead. Leah is married through deception, not consent. When Jacob realizes what has happened, he is furious, but he directs that anger toward Leah and immediately demands Rachel as well. Laban agrees. Jacob is allowed to marry Rachel after 1 week on the condition that he works another 7 years. The text tells us plainly that Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. Leah lives in a marriage where she is not loved, where her husband is emotionally bound to her sister, and where her presence is tolerated rather than desired. Hang on 1 second. Come on, get to bed. You're not going to dig through stuff. Sorry, getting a little needy here. Leah bears Jacob children. She names them in ways that reflect her longing to be seen, to be chosen, to finally be loved. With each son, she hopes this will change her husband's heart. It never does. Leah gives birth to 6 sons and 1 daughter. Rachel struggles with infertility for years. Over time, Leah fades into the background of the narrative. She is not celebrated. She is not centered. She is not praised. At the end of Jacob's life, it is Leah, not Rachel, who is buried with him in the family tomb. That is the entirety of Leah's story. Rabbinic tradition is far more interested in Leah than the biblical text itself. Where the text is brief and indifferent, the rabbis expand, they explain, they justify. One of the most common rabbinic teachings is that Leah's eyes were weak because she wept constantly. According to Midrash, Leah grew up hearing that she would be married to Esau, while her younger sister Rachel would marry Jacob. Fearing that fate, Leah cried, she prayed, she begged God to change her destiny, and paused there for a moment. Think about what that teaching requires us to accept. Esau becomes such a villain in this tradition that the mere idea of marrying him is treated as a kind of torture. A woman is imagined as living in terror, crying herself sick, not because of anything Esau actually does to her, but because the tradition needs him to be hated that badly. This God hates Esau. The story teaches us to hate Esau. And now a woman's suffering is built on top of that hatred. Esau becomes a monster by reputation alone, and Leah's anguish is used to reinforce it. That story alone should make us question every story in this book. But I digress. Let's get back to Leah. Her tears, the rabbis say, were answered. She was not given to Esau. She became Jacob's wife. She bore many children. She was eventually buried beside Jacob, while Rachel was not. In this telling, Leah's suffering becomes meaningful. Her pain becomes effective. Her tears are credited with altering God's plan. Rabbinic teaching often presents this as a victory. God saw Leah. God responded. God rewarded her endurance. But notice what this framing requires. Leah's fear is centered, but the system that created that fear is not questioned. Her suffering is praised, but the circumstances that produced it are left intact. The description of her wedding night is not condemned. Her lack of consent is not addressed. The harm done to her body is absorbed into the story as necessary. The lesson becomes this: if you suffer righteously enough, your suffering will be redeemed. Leah is not rescued, she is reinterpreted. Her pain is not prevented, it is spiritualized. Rabbinic teaching does not deny that Leah was unloved. It explains why that unloved status was part of a larger good. And in doing so, it teaches generations of readers to admire endurance instead of asking why endurance was required at all. In Christian teaching, Leah nearly disappears. When she is mentioned at all, she is flattened into a lesson, a contrast, a symbol. She becomes the unloved woman who God loved, the proof that God values the inside over the outside, the reassurance that beauty doesn't really matter. But that framing only works if you ignore almost everything about her life. Christian sermons rarely linger on the way Leah is married. They rarely name the deception. They almost never speak about consent. Instead, her suffering is softened, spiritualized, turned into encouragement. She is told to be grateful, to see her children as compensation, to accept that God had a different kind of plan for her. In this telling, Leah is not harmed, she is used. And that word is supposed to feel comforting. But used means something very different inside Christianity than it does everywhere else. When we say in ordinary language that someone is being used, we mean they are being exploited. We mean their consent is ignored. We mean someone else is benefiting at their expense. That word carries a negative weight, and rightly so. But in Christian language, being used by God is framed as holy, as righteous, as something to aspire to. And that should disturb us. Because these women are not being used for something holy. This is not sacred. This is not beautiful. Their bodies are being used. A single pregnancy permanently alters a woman's body's hormones, organs, bones, and brain chemistry. And these women were not asked to endure one pregnancy. They were forced into sex, forced into repeated childbirth over and over again. There's nothing holy about that. Calling it righteousness does not cleanse it. Calling it God's will does not redeem it. Being used by God in this way is no different than being used by a man, a human man, who believes his desire overrides her consent. Power does not become moral just because it calls itself divine. And once again, the system that produced Leah's suffering is left untouched. Christian teaching often treats Leah as interchangeable. She is grouped with other women whose pain is explained away because it produced something useful, a lineage, a legacy, a lesson. The question is never whether she should have suffered. The question is only how to extract a meaning from it. And that is the move Christianity makes over and over again. Instead of asking whether a situation is just, it asks whether God can use it. Instead of questioning harm, it sanctifies it. Instead of protecting women, it teaches them how to endure quietly. Leah becomes an example, not a person. Her story is not allowed to trouble the theology. It is reshaped until it fits. And in the process, Christian teaching trains people to distrust their own discomfort, to believe that if a story produces the right outcome, then the cost must have been acceptable. That lesson doesn't stay in the Bible. It follows women into marriages, into churches, into bodies, into lives. And it teaches them the same thing Leah was taught. If you are not beautiful, make yourself useful. If you are not loved, endure. If you are hurting, call it faith. What happens to Leah does not stay in the ancient world. It becomes the pattern because patriarchy does not just control women's labor, it controls how women are seen. Beauty is not a neutral preference. It is a system, and that system has always been enforced by power. So let's talk about who actually runs the system. According to Fortune magazine, as of 2024, women make up about 10% of CEOs in the Fortune 500. That means roughly 90% of the most powerful corporate decision makers in the United States are men. That imbalance is even more extreme in the industry that shape women's bodies. In 2023, Women's Wear Daily reported that approximately 85% of major beauty brand CEOs are men, and that around 70% of executive board seats in the beauty industry are held by men. These are not abstract numbers. These are the people deciding what women should look like, what is considered beautiful, what is considered acceptable, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be hidden, what needs to be sold, and and the money involved is staggering. According to market analysis firms like Statista and McKinsey, the global beauty industry generates more than $500 billion every year, with projections pushing it toward $800 billion within the next decade. Weight loss pharmaceuticals alone are a massive profit engine. Drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, manufactured and marketed by pharmaceutical giants, are projected by industry analysis to generate tens of billions of dollars annually, with women making up the majority of long-term users. So let's be honest about what's happening. Men disproportionately own these companies. Men disproportionately sit on the boards. Men disproportionately approve the advertising. Men disproportionately collect the profits. And women disproportionately bear the cost. Our bodies become projects, problems to solve, markets to exploit. And religion did not interpret that system, it baptized it. The biblical world teaches women this lesson early: be beautiful if you can, and if you cannot, be useful. If you are Rachel, you are desired. If you are Leah, you must compensate. You must love harder, submit more, endure longer, accept less, call survival virtue. This is not empowerment, it is conditioning. Leah is not punished for being cruel, she is punished for not fitting the standard. And instead of questioning that standard, religion teaches her and generations of women after her to internalize it. If you are not beautiful, it must be your fault. If you are not chosen, you must try harder. If you are suffering, there must be something noble about it. That logic does not liberate women, it disciplines them. It teaches women to police themselves, to measure themselves, to disappear pieces of themselves in the hope that obedience will become love. This is why Leia matters. She is not a metaphor for inner beauty. She is evidence of what happens when a system decides whose body is worthy of desire and whose body must earn its place through endurance. And that system did not die with the Bible. It just learned how to monetize women more efficiently. I joked earlier that I could make this whole sermon about Princess Leia. I'm not going to, but I do want to talk about her for a moment because even Princess Leia didn't escape this system. In Star Wars, Princess Leia is captured by Jabba the Hutt, a grotesque, powerful figure who chains her up, forces her into a revealing outfit, and displays her body as a spectacle. She is literally reduced to an object of fantasy, a possession. And that image became iconic, not because it challenged patriarchy, but because it indulged it. A powerful, monstrous male figure owning a beautiful woman's body on display, available and silent. That didn't come out of nowhere. It came from the same cultural logic that decides women's value through desirability. Princess Leia is strong. Princess Leia is defiant. Princess Leia is intelligent, and none of that matters in that moment. What matters is that she is beautiful. And even in the story where she eventually resists, escapes, and survives, her body is still used as a visual reward for the audience. Different genre, different century, same system. Leia is punished for not being beautiful. Princess Leia is punished for being beautiful. One is forced to compensate, the other is forced to be consumed. And both are trapped in a world where men hold the power, set the terms, and decide what women's bodies are for. This is not coincidence, this is continuity. The Bible did not invent this logic, but it helped normalize it. And modern culture has refined it, monetized it, and sold it back to us as entertainment. Which is why stories like Leia's and images like Princess Leia's should not be dismissed as just stories. They are training tools. They teach us whose bodies matter, whose bodies are protected, and whose bodies are allowed to be used. I knew we lived in a world with high beauty standards. I just didn't understand how early those standards were imposed until I became a mother. I grew up in the Midwest. I was a conservative Christian mom, and when my oldest daughter was born, I did not see how deeply the system reaches into childhood. My daughter was stunning. I don't say this as a proud mom exaggerating. I mean objectively, visibly beautiful. She was born with a full head of hair. People stopped me in public to comment on her. Strangers would interrupt me in grocery stores and malls just to tell me how beautiful my child was. One time I was walking through a mall and a young man, maybe 17, passed me. A few minutes later, he turned around, came back, and said, I just want to tell you that that literally is the most beautiful little girl I've ever seen in my life. So when I discovered child beauty pageants, I didn't think danger. I thought opportunity. I thought it would be fun. I thought about scholarships. I didn't know anything about pageants. I had no idea what that world was really like. I entered her in one and she was under 2 years old and she won the entire pageant. Then I entered her in another pageant. She didn't win, and that part didn't bother me. What bothered me was what happened afterward. One of the judges approached me and told me that if I had bought her a more appropriate dress, put makeup on her, and had her hair professionally done, she probably would have won. I remember thinking that was insane. And then the John Benet Ramsey story broke. And suddenly the entire world learned that there is a deeply disturbing subculture where adults dress little girls up like grown women and parade them in front of judges and audiences. That was the moment I understood what I had almost normalized. I never entered my daughter in another pageant, not ever. If you can't tell whether a toddler is adorable without makeup, spray tans, and adult styling, then I want no part of it. I should never have put her in a pageant at all. I should never have allowed her body to be something evaluated, scored, and ranked. And that part is on me. And I will say that out loud. But what haunts me is this. There are people in this world right now who judge little girls while they are still in pull-ups, who make their value about attractiveness to adults before they can read, before they can understand mirrors, before they have language for consent. That level of disturbance is almost impossible for me to comprehend. And stories like the ones we read in the Bible don't interpret that system, they perpetuate it. There's a reason artists keep returning to Leia when theology refuses to sit with her honestly. Thinker wrote a song called They Call Me Fortunate. This song is Leia's voice. It is part of Thinker's album, Volume 1, Her Voice, Recovered Files, a project centered on reclaiming the voices of women from the Bible, women who were spoken about, spoken over, and rarely allowed to speak for themselves. In They Call Me Fortunate, Thinker names the system directly. You built your worth in patriarchal systems. And later, if they don't see you as beautiful, oh, something happened. I'm sorry, I'm missing a part of this. Just give me 1 minute because I messed up. So I can find it though. Just give me
No
1 second. Okay.
problem. It's been so great so far. I'm sure we can wait.
Thank you.
Yeah, that happens with computers. In the meantime, I will sing. No, I'm kidding.
Could you just sing a song really quick?
You have to give me a song, though. That's the problem. I don't know any of your songs by heart yet, so.
Okay, I said, okay. You built your worth in patriarchal systems. Okay, okay. Here we go. You built your worth. You built your worth in patriarchal systems, and later, if they don't see you as beautiful, they'll tell you be useful. That line could be written over Leia's entire life. Thinker also tells a story from her own childhood that explains why Leia's voice matters so much to her. When she was 9 years old, she went to a church member's house for a play date. She had a crush on a little boy. She was there with her younger sister. At one point, she went inside to get something to drink. While she was in the house, she overheard her crush talking to his mother. He told her that he liked Thinker's younger sister. And the mother responded, You shouldn't like the light-skinned one because she's light-skinned and pretty. You should like the brown one because she's dark-skinned and ugly. Ugly girls treat you better. Thinker didn't tell anyone what she heard. She internalized it. And it became a core belief that if you are beautiful, you need to love. If you are not beautiful, you need to love harder. That if you are not chosen, you need to compensate. That acceptance, that acceptance must be earned through endurance. That belief didn't stay in childhood. It followed her into adulthood, into relationship, into faith, into identity. When Thinker encountered Leia's story, she recognized herself, not because Leia was weak, but because Leia was taught the same lie. That there is a standard that some women meet it, and the rest of us must make ourselves useful to deserve a place. I want you to listen to Thinker's album, not just because it's good, but because it tells the truth. It speaks to every one of us who was once a little girl and was told explicitly or implicitly that something about our bodies disqualified us, that our skin was the wrong shade, that our hair needed to be curlier or straighter, that our legs bowed too much, that our teeth stuck out. It names the lie and it refuses it. Volume 1, Her Voice Recovered Files, is available on Spotify and everywhere else you stream your music. And she did not tell me to tell you guys this. Because artists tell the truth long before institutions are willing to. And before we close, I want to return to Leia one more time. Something happens to me when I revisit these stories now, and it surprises me every time. I'm an atheist. I don't believe these are historical people. I don't believe these stories are divinely inspired. And yet, when I come back to them now, I see these women as human for the first time. When I was a Christian, I didn't. They weren't people, especially the background characters like Leia. They were symbols. They didn't have depth or interior lives or complexity. They existed to teach me something about myself, what was wrong with me, what I needed to accept, what I needed to endure. Leia taught me a lesson. She taught me that if I was not beautiful, I should be grateful anyway. That even if a human man might never love me the way he loves someone else, at least the God who created me this way. The God who created me this way, still loves me. And that is a deeply fucked up message. Because embedded in it is the idea that I was created undesirable and that love was compensation. That my consolation prize was divine affection for a body and a life that didn't deserve human desire. You don't realize what that does to you when that message is planted in your brain. You don't feel the damage as it's happening. You just grow around it. You accommodate it. You internalize it. The men benefit enormously from that story. They benefit when women believe that love must be earned through endurance. They benefit when women accept being second. They benefit when women spiritualize harm instead of refusing it. And they are never going to give that up voluntarily. That only changes when women start saying, no more. So now when I return to Leia, I don't see a lesson. I see a woman. I see a person whose body was negotiated, whose consent was ignored, whose pain was reframed as meaning. And I refuse to call that sacred. So let's be honest about what this story has been teaching us. Leia was not blessed. She was managed. She was not honored. She was endured. She was not chosen. She was made useful. And for centuries, religion has asked women to call that love. We've seen it in Leia. We've seen it in Princess Leia. We've seen it in little girls judged before they can read. We've seen it in churches and families, in our own bodies. If you are beautiful, you are desired. If you are not, you are told to compensate. Love harder, endure more, accept less. Call it faith. That is not holiness, that is harm. And when a system consistently rewards suffering, it is not producing virtue, it is producing victims who are very good at surviving. This anti sermon is not about fixing Leia. It is about refusing the lie that she needed fixing at all. It is about naming the system that decided her body was negotiable, her consent was irrelevant, and her pain could be redeemed as long as it produced something useful. That lie did not end in Genesis. It followed us, it shaped us, it still profits from us. And I want to say this clearly, especially to anyone who learned early that their worth was conditional. You do not need to be beautiful to be loved. You do not need to suffer to be holy. You do not need to endure harm to deserve meaning. Leia deserved consent. Princess Leia deserved dignity. Little girls deserve a childhood. And women deserve bodies that are not up for negotiation. If there is anything worth reclaiming from these stories, it is not obedience, it is not endurance, it is not usefulness. It is the right to say, this system is wrong, and I refuse to call it sacred. And that's today's anti sermon.
Whew. Wow. I'm not going to make this about me, but I do want to share one thing for any
You
moms who are
can
listening,
do
who are
whatever
listening.
you want.
Okay. For any moms who are listening or dads who are listening, um, I look a lot like my mom. I don't see it as much as other people, but everyone used to say I look like my mom. And my mom always talked about how she was ugly. So you can imagine as a little girl, I just didn't believe I could be beautiful because my mom was already grown up and she was ugly. And so how could I be? And of course, with the value that this culture placed on beauty, I just wish she had kept her frickin' mouth shut and focused on other things about me, that were wonderful and that every child has that are wonderful and beautiful. And that I was a good kid and kind and generous. And, I was one of those kids. I was a little too good, in fact. And the mistake, try to remember not to go up to kids and say, oh, how cute. I say, how look at those eyes. They're so full of mystery and wonder, saying things like that. But I make the mistake so often of saying, how cute, how beautiful your children are. And I try and stop myself, but I still do it.
I'm working on that too. I'm working on not making comments about the way somebody looks, and it
Mm-hmm.
is a hard habit to get out of. I, unless that is exactly what they are asking me, because then I think it's
Right.
fine and appropriate. Like because people do work on themselves, and it helps with their self-esteem. So if somebody says, did you guys like notice I lost 20 pounds? Then I'm going to mention their weight loss, but I'm not going to mention it otherwise because it's none of my damn business. Why am I talking about somebody's
And,
body? Like
right.
who am I to judge somebody's body?
Right. And whether someone's lost weight or gained weight, it could be because of something like an eating disorder, an
Yeah.
abusive situation they're in, something like that. So when you say it, you're triggering them in a way that they could never explain. They could never say, oh, thank you for saying I'm beautiful. And they're just going, oh, nobody notices that I'm 20 pounds underweight. So I just think we should not comment on people's bodies unless, as you said,
Exactly.
they point it out. And then, of course, you want to say something, because they have worked hard but they have a goal then that they've been meeting. So it's
I
okay.
actually disagree, Zombified. I don't think it's okay to tell somebody they're good looking. I really don't. I don't think it's okay to do that. Um, I I think that what you do then is I grew up with a person who I call my sister because she was actually my cousin, but we called each other sisters. And because I lived with her since I was 3, so we were like sisters. And people considered her very beautiful. And so for whatever reason, since they commented on that all the time, and they didn't for me, that I thought I was hideous. Okay, because I must be hideous if they're always telling her how beautiful she is. And she grew up thinking people think I'm stupid and people think I'm incapable and people think that there's nothing else redeeming about me other than my body. And so we both grew up with low self esteem, but for two different reasons. And all of it stemmed around people commenting on her body and telling her how beautiful she was. Both of us had low self esteem because somebody thought it was okay to comment on her body and tell her she was good looking.
I grew up very similar. My sibling was one of the most
It
beautiful
wasn't.
girls.
I'm sorry, Grandma. Let me. I'm talking to Zombified for
Oh,
just a
sorry.
minute. So let me. No, you didn't know. I just wanted. He just said something. It's not just my parents who did it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It was a repeated thing that people said to her. People who thought it's okay to give somebody a compliment on how they look. And she has expressed many times, as a person who is physically attractive, that that's not okay, that it did harm to her. And I'm trying to express that to you, and I feel like you're not listening. It harms people when you do that. You think it's a compliment, but unless they are asking you specifically to comment on how they look, when you comment on somebody on how they look, you are literally doing harm because you are then um, putting them in a box, really. You know, people are more than what they look like. And we need to stop grading people on how they look by having that be the first comments we make. I don't think there's anything wrong with complimenting somebody on how well put together they look because they probably worked on that. They
Mhm.
paid for those clothes or whatever. Maybe you say, "Wow, uh, I really like your outfit today. You look very well put together. I like your fashion or whatever." But the rest is unnecessary, I think. Go ahead,
What they
Grandma.
well, first of all, I'll say that what they teach in schools nowadays, a lot of people, not all around the country, but is if you can't change it in 5 seconds, don't say anything about it. So like you could change your coat if you wanted to. If you
That's
you could change
true.
your clothes, you could change, but you couldn't change your glasses.
Yeah.
So if you can't change it within 5 seconds, don't say anything. That's what they try to teach kids to do. Because it really works. Like I can compliment you on that cute little headset you have. I love it so much. And it is cute. I've always liked it. But I wouldn't want
Thank
to
you.
comment on necessarily your hairstyle, even if it's always beautiful, which maybe it is, but I don't want to say. You know.
No, I just think that it's to me, okay, so let me put it this way. Maybe this is a better way to put it. This is a slippery slope. If you
Hmm.
don't know for sure that what like and you can't really know people for sure. I don't think whether what you're about to say to somebody that you think is a good thing to say about their body or how they look, whether that would harm them or not, maybe don't say it. If you do know, like, oh, I know my mom, she's been working really hard on losing weight or something, then maybe that's fine.
Yep.
But I don't think you should just walk up to women and tell them, hey, you're gorgeous. I don't think that's okay. I just don't. I don't think that's okay at all.
I had it happen to me once when I was at the lowest weight that I've ever been in my life in the midst of an eating disorder. And I had people coming up to me all the time saying, "Oh my gosh, you've lost weight. You look so good." When my doctors are all telling me, "You need to gain weight. You have to gain
Yeah.
weight."
I have been both anorexic and now I'm overweight, and
I've been
that's
both.
been a problem my whole life is because people always have commented on my weight. That was the one thing they did always comment on, and that became an internalized thing for me.
Mm.
Rabbi Bert,
Hey, hello.
Hello.
how are you? Did you
Doing
hear
well,
my
thank you.
anti sermon this morning?
I haven't heard it yet. I've
Oh, so good.
keeping. I'm so excited to listen to it.
Okay,
You
well, I
really
just
are
want you to know
breaking the
I
mold
mentioned
here.
you. I mentioned you in a lot of my sermons, by the way, sir.
You
You're
did. You did.
amazing. I gotta to play some serious catch up. I've been I was on vacation last week and I've had three funerals. So
Oh,
been,
wow. I'm
it's
sorry
been
about
quite.
I'm trying to remember. Was it about Laban, or was it about Leia's condition that you
It was
mentioned?
about Laban that I
It
mentioned
was.
him
I
because
remember.
yes, you did. I talked about how you taught, like how Laban should be familiar in our story about Leia today because he is also Rebecca's that made them all related, you know. And I taught how you taught me that his they show him wanting to profit in the, you know, because he's looking at the bracelet in the first time he's mentioned, and then
Uh-huh.
this one he tricks him. And so I brought that up in my sermon today.
He's
And
a,
then
he's a
in
little
another sermon.
schnorr.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
I didn't think of the name. I remember you told me a Yiddish name for him,
Yeah.
and I didn't put that in there. But um, there's another sermon I did where I talk about the well, and then
Mm,
I talked about type scenes and how you taught me about type scenes. So yeah,
you're
but if
awesome.
you have not watched the triptych I sent you through a message, you have to watch it. You guys, should I just play Act One for him live so we can get his live reaction to Act One?
I'd love
I'm
to
going
hear
to.
it personally,
Okay.
selfishly.
Okay, here we
Yeah, then we
go.
can talk about Leia. That'd be perfect. I love that
Okay,
combo
awesome.
because I want to
Let's
hear Act One
do.
too.
Okay, this is Act One of A Seat at the Table. Oh, no, it's not. That's actually. Let me. I'm gonna mute you guys. Okay, mute up for a
Okay.
minute while and then I'll play Act One. Good evening, Crystaljae. Don't be startled, my dear. This story comes in 3 movements, but this one must stand on its own right here. I didn't come for a single song or a truth neatly told. Some lessons need more than one room, more than one table to hold. I've watched you read a room before. The words are even said. You notice who is pouring wine and who is breaking bread. A seat at the table. Who sits, who stays, who looks away. I've worn 1,000 names before. They learned to write them down. Inanna in the dust and clay. I started, sung by crowns. They dressed me up as Aphrodite. Made me soft as sweet. But power always shows its teeth before it learns to cheat. So listen now, because this is why I chose to speak to you. You're starting to see how tables work and what they quietly ask you to do. Seat at the table, who sits, who stays, who looks away. Come with me now, Berlin. 39. When I pressed into the street, a Jewish boy named Jacob learns how fear finds a way to eat. His friend is Klaus, good German boy, grew up just down the lane. He swears to Jacob, head to heart, I'll never speak your name. I know it's wrong. Klaus says out loud, I see what's being done. I'd never turn you in, I swear. I'd never be that one. But one night Jacob sees him there at a table warm and wide, pouring wine for men in brown. A swastika at Klaus
decide. Not shouting hate, not raising fists, just smiling, passing bread. Calling it kindness, calling it peace, calling it nothing said. Klaus doesn't point, Klaus doesn't tell. Klaus thinks his hands are clean, but he pulls out chairs for Nazis and calls it staying seen. And Jacob learns what silence costs before the knock arrives. You don't have to turn them in to help them take their lives. At the table, who sits, who stays, who looks away. This lie repeat itself, dressed up as decency. Sitting isn't choosing sides, that kindness cancels complicity. So, if this sounds like history, keep listening anyway, because the table is still set, and it hasn't gone away. A seat at the table.
That's Act One.
Unbelievable. Bravo. Unbelievable.
Thank you. Do you have a
We're
guess?
so fucked.
I know.
Yeah. Did you say smiling and sharing bread? Is that what I heard?
Um, yeah, I think that's I don't
That's
I have to
amazing.
read my list, but yeah,
That's okay. I
they're just
understand.
sharing bread. They're not
Yeah.
fighting. There's no they're not, you know. Um,
Calling it kindness and peace, and you don't care. That's just, oh, that was the part that hit me the most. Wow.
uh,
Have you
we
started to make a
listen.
point? Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I just am wondering, like, what your plan is. Like, how are you going to, like, this is so. I mean, it's just so good.
Oh, I just released it on Spotify. It is called "The Seat at the Table" triptych by Crystaljae. You can pre-save it right now on Spotify, and it's released on all the platforms. So Act Two, we listened to a little bit earlier. Act Two is a personal story about a friend of mine who decided to hang out with a bunch of transphobes, and I watched her at her table and decide not to sit at her table anymore. And Act Three is about the fact that I started to really wonder how I found myself in a place where I get to sit at tables with people like you, Rabbi, and people like Grana Zana, and scholars and poets and artists. And I realized that it is because you all see the seats that I won't sit at, and I've earned my place at your table. And so, yeah, so it's a triptych about what tables mean, what it means when you take.
Well, that really fits with what you talked about today with Leia, because that's kind of what she was going through. Everyone sat at the table and called her this wonderful person, and how she was so, like, even with all the mean stuff they said, because of what she survived, she's supposed to be this big hero. But there was nothing heroic that people did for her. They just made her suffer. And that's kind
Nothing
of like
heroic she
they,
did for herself, too. She accepted her fate as the ugly one.
right. It's just so like, so she's sitting at the table pretending everything's all right. while they're putting her down, and well, she's, even though that she's the one who's had all the children, she's not given
And
any credit
convinced
for
herself that
anything.
she's made it.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally convinced herself, and unfortunately, we do that all the time too, right? And so
Hmm. Yeah.
sit at table with people who abuse us and confuse that uh, any attention as good attention, right?
Right. Well, like you talked
Isn't
about, you've talked about before, where if Uncle Joe is the one that you have to keep your eye on when he comes over, why are you inviting Uncle Joe?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you doing that?
You know, like the people who are, if you know they're going to be harmful in any way, why are you letting them sit at your table?
Exactly. And as far as my anti sermons go, Rabbi, I am going to be turning those into a podcast soon. I am still on baby watch, so it will probably be February before I get my first episodes out. But that will be it. And then hopefully one day I can turn them into some books. I don't
yeah?
think it could be one book because I'm going to go through the whole Bible hopefully and do
I
this. So I don't
I
think it
think
could
the
fit in one book.
I think the
Well,
rabbi
maybe
would
maybe it's
really. Oh, sorry.
no, no. Please, I defer.
I was going to say I think the rabbi would really appreciate what you said about her tears because she became Jacob's wife, but she had been so afraid of being Esau's wife. He would really have
Yeah.
connected with that. Like
Let me see if
she was
I can
supposed to be
find
happy about it, but who knows if Esau would have been a good guy or not, because he just had
Right.
so much against him to start off with. But
Rebecca was supposed to be Esau's wife.
no, no, Leah.
I'll read that part to you.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Let me read it. Okay. Rabbinic tradition later leans in. Okay. So we talked about some stuff about her beauty. Okay. Rabbinic teacher later leans into this by teaching that Leah's eyes were weak because she wept constantly. She is imagined as a girl who cried herself into impairment, pleading for a different future, begging not to be handed off to the wrong man. Because some rabbinic teaching, no, it's too hard for me to find it all together. You'll have to read it,
No,
but
I get it. I was wondering if it was a midrash. That was why I was just
yeah, it
asking
is.
because
According to Midrash,
yeah,
Leah grew up hearing that she would be married to Esau while her younger sister Rachel would marry Jacob. Fearing that fate, Leah cried. She prayed. She begged God to change for her destiny and pause her for a moment. And pause here for a moment. Then I talk about how God hated Esau, and he hated him so much that now he's some form of torture for Leah. Like, oh no, I have to marry this guy. So, uh, yeah.
the rabbis are just so creative. Like they just like they're storytellers. They're spinners of
Yeah,
tales.
yeah. And then she said that her tears were answered because she became Jacob's wife instead of Esau's. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. But she felt was supposed to feel blessed because of this kind of thing.
yeah, yep, yeah. Poor Leia. Poor all
Really,
these little side characters who fucking never did anything and end up with these horrific stories. Uh, Poor Esau, poor Leia, poor.
I think the saddest part is that like it's been 3,000 years. 2,500 years. Where's the change?
Yep.
Like how
Right?
much how much progress? I mean, I guess in the course of 14 billion years, how much is 2,500 years? But um, I think that you know,
Do you know what I was told recently? I was told, but look how far we've come, and I'm like, what are you? What are you talking about? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? And they said, well, at least like you can have a checking account now.
Oh my gosh.
that's
Holy crap.
throw me a bone.
Right?
Um,
What are you fucking talking about?
More like
Like
throw me a
that?
stone.
Why should it have ever been that way? Ever? Like, what do you mean how far we've come? Why is it still not a fix? Why are we
I,
in the second millennium going,
I was riding in a car with a friend recently, and somebody cut us off, and And I was like, what the hell, you know? And my friend goes, oh, everyone's just doing their best. I go, no, no one's doing their best.
Right.
Can you imagine if everybody was doing their best, what the world would look like?
No, for real.
Yeah.
I thought I would put a topic up today where we could maybe talk to some women, but I don't get a lot of women. I have a lot of men. There was literally a man in the box waiting for a very long time. I didn't bring him up because we were talking, but it's funny to me that says, women, why do you worship patriarchy? And a man wants to come up and talk. And I joked about it earlier. I told Granite earlier, like,
Hmm.
I'll probably get a man who wants to come up and talk to me about it. But if you are a believer of the God or the God of the Bible, Christian, a stack mac, biff, taj, whatever, um, I do want to talk to women if there are women today, but if you're a man and you want to tell me why women worship the patriarchy, that would be funny. Come up and try to mansplain that to me, okay?
Well, Crystal, what you might not understand is
Just crazy. Uh,
I gave
Yesterday I
the.
had, oh, go ahead, Greta.
I was just going to say I gave the Sadak Mac Bivtage cup to a pastor.
You did? That's awesome. That's awesome. I need to buy one. I don't actually own my own, even though I am the one who created it. I don't have one. I need to get one. I do have a dumpling mug though, and I have a thinker nerd mug.
The
Um,
dumpling hoodie is the cutest thing ever. And did you
isn't it
know if you
cute?
do the Wonder Woman pose, it shows all the little dumplings? So if someone asks you a question like, why are you wearing that shirt? You just do the Wonder Woman pose, and then all these dumplings like shoot at their eyesight, and then maybe they'll just start laughing and leave you alone, you know.
Oh, that's cute. I did not know that. I created that too. Thank you. Thank you.
It's so
Um,
cute. It's the cutest thing
I
ever.
really just wanted some dumpling stuff, so I went crazy one night and made a whole bunch of dumpling merch for the merch store. Hey, Katie, good to see you. Silly Goose, Godless Engineer, Zombified, Dr. Joe. You guys, so many wonderful people in here. Deconstruction Deacon, Jeffro, good to see you. Tahir, as always, welcome in everybody, everybody. Um, I can change the background though. I've been enjoying Evil Llama. Good to see you. Um, this morning about Leia. That was the anti sermon this morning, and the beauty standards, and the fact that literally the only people who profit off of beauty standards are men.
Yep.
Okay, they're the ones profiting from you every time. Every time you get your lips filled, every time you give in to the latest fashion trend, every fucking time you do any of those things, you're only helping a man profit.
Well, if we
You,
have someone, I'll stop talking. But I just wanted to say one of the things I liked that you had to say was once you walked away from Christianity, you saw these secondary women in the Bible as human. And I loved that.
that's
Well,
true. That is a really true thing that as I was writing this one, it really dawned on me that as we talk to Christians, many times they will literally tell you they don't see these people as human. Like we have talked before about Job's story, and we will say to them, what about Job's wife? What about what she went through? She gave birth to 10 children, and then she lost them all in one day. And then is she the one who gives birth to 10 more? We don't know. It doesn't say. It says Job gets 10 more children. It never tells you whether she birthed those children or he had another wife, where they came, but they'll say, but that's not the point. It's
ugh,
about Job. And I'm like, I know. So I'm asking you the what about her. And they're like, yeah, but that's not the point of the story. And that's when it, as I was writing this, I was like, holy cow, these these characters are more human to me now than they ever were when I was a Christian, especially the background characters. Those, for some reason, I have so much more compassion and empathy for them now than I ever did.
beautiful.
Welcome to the panel, Evil Llama. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I was just earlier in another fun, uh, yeah, Christian type live. Yeah, we'll just put it there. But I always like to come up and at least say hi and join
Appreciate
in when I can. Oh, so you were talking about the makeup and stuff, and I wanted to say something. So the kids' mom and I were sitting on the bed. She was doing her makeup with all of her stuff sprawled all over. And I looked at my son, who's a teenager, and I said, we should be thankful we don't have to go through this whole routine of, buying all this makeup and doing this, wasting like an hour or so a day to do all this makeup. And he goes, well, I'd hope I didn't have to do makeup. But I tell people, embrace your natural beauty. When I see her without her makeup, I was like, you have a natural beauty. You don't need to put all this on your face. And maybe it's like people wear it as like a mask,
I
or
think so. I think that sometimes, you know, I wear a little bit of makeup. I don't wear a lot, but I think that it's okay to do things that make you feel uh, like
right,
your best self, whether it's physical best self or whether it's
right.
mentally your best self or whatever. And for me, I
Sometimes
do
that's
do a
what
little bit of
it is.
makeup. But just so you know, every day when I go live, for all of you who are like, I want to go live, but I'm scared of the camera, I'm scared of going live, I hate my nose, I hate my hair. Nothing about when I go live do I go, oh my God, I look so good today.
And
Dude, I'm
Sorry,
wearing
that's
a
what
but that's
like
so
hoodie.
true about most
Look at those
people.
wrinkles. Look at the wrinkles. Look at those. I see them every time. I see how uneven my eyebrows are. I see all the flaws that are in me, and I go live anyway because to me, our conversations are so fucking valuable. But I do wear a little bit of makeup because I like the way the certain makeup
and
looks on me.
some
I
women it
just like
helps empower them and makes she said she does a lot of time to make herself feel better about herself.
yeah,
One of the healthiest things I ever heard a mom tell me that she did was whenever her daughter wants to take a picture of her, as long as she's dressed, she smiles and lets them take a picture and then comments on the picture when she's shown, like, oh, that's such a good smile I have, or oh, that's one of my favorite hoodies, or whatever good thing she can think about the picture. Because she doesn't ever want her daughter to think that a picture without makeup or something isn't a beautiful, she's not beautiful.
yeah.
Right.
I thought
You
that
know,
was
I
so.
want to tell you something you brought up earlier, Grana. Um, you talked about your mom and how she always talked about how she was ugly, and then people would
Mhm.
comment about how you look just like her. And I thought about that as a mom because I have a daughter who looks very much like me too. Actually, both my daughters look very much like me, but in two different ways, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it does.
and I realized that I was doing that a long time ago, and
Sorry.
I became very cognizant of the fact that why would I want my daughter to be told that she looks just like me and then also hear the message that I think I'm ugly? And so I stopped doing that a long time.
Yeah.
One, I stopped making comments on who my kids look like in the family, in any of them, not just
Right.
her. Like I
Right.
realized I'm not gonna put that on. What the fuck am I doing putting that on? Like, what if they don't like the way that person looks? And then I'm telling them they look just like that person. So I'm not gonna
But,
do that
and
anymore,
also
you know?
that doesn't allow them to be themselves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna put like, oh, you're just as smart as Uncle so and so, or you're just as, none of it. I'm not gonna compare them. Yeah, you're right, Zombified. I don't need to compare them. And I think that it's weird, but when I was growing up, like, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but when I was growing up, you were supposed to carry on all the same shit your parents carried on. If they had dinner at 6, that's what you should do when you become a
Hmm.
parent too. Like if they had a tradition of a Christmas tree that you got on the day after Thanksgiving, that should be your tradition too, right? So if they train their kids by comparing them, then that is how you parent it too. And it took a long time, not a long time, but actually, I think it just took moving several states away from my family for me to realize I did not have to do anything at all that my parents did. None of them. I did not have to parent in any way, shape, or form like my parents did. I didn't have to have the same bedtimes they did. I didn't have to have dinner at the same time. And I didn't have to compare my
Yeah.
When I
What? Oh, go ahead.
when I do premarital counseling, I do 4 1-hour sessions, and one of them is talking about the things that you want to leave behind from your family of origin, and just a full kind of, I think what people don't realize is that when you become, when you enter into a relationship, you should prioritize that immediate relationship. And you're obviously still your parents' children, and some people are more enmeshed or less enmeshed in families than others. But your immediate priority is to your spouse. And oftentimes people don't realize that they can give themselves permission to, as you were saying, to leave behind perhaps toxic, um, you know, rituals or mentalities or dispositions or something. And it always is a fruitful conversation because I think it's really honestly the first time people think about these things, and
It
it's an
is.
opportunity. Yes, it's a great opportunity for the other spouse. I give them opportunity to kind of give feedback to say like, hey, I noticed that you're doing this. One one yeah, I don't want to give specifics just in case.
No, no, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. But you can understand that people,
Yeah. It's like
yeah,
therapy.
Well,
Like it's,
yeah. And
yeah.
one of the things
confidential.
that I've talked to a lot of people recently is my parents, their litmus test was I'm better than my parents was. That's terrible. Like your parents were horrid parents. And if that's your only goal is to be better than them, that's not a good goal. Like that's not how you
It's
should
not a good
decide.
goal. It's not a good goal. But I do want to say something because I have talked about that before. I think that there are people from my generation specifically, and maybe from, I'm Gen X, by the way, maybe a little bit
Gen
younger
X
generations
rules.
too.
Gen X rules.
Maybe millennials feel this way too. But I often, even though I talk about the abuse and neglect and stuff that I um, had in my relationship with my parents, I love my, I
Mm-hmm.
love them very deep. And people will wonder how you can have those two things and have it somehow be okay. And I've tried to explain to him because my father was severely abused, and he really, really, really thought that he broke, you know, the chain of abuse and the cycle of abuse. He just didn't understand all the forms of it. He did not understand that verbal abuse is still abuse. He did not understand that, right? And so I don't think he, I really think he thought he did.
It's less of a comment on the quality of the parents parenting and more of a comment on the resiliency of children to be able to adapt to literally just about anything. I mean, when we were getting ready to have a kid, the parenting classes that we were taking were saying that like something like only 20% of a child's needs need to be attended to in order for a child to be well adjusted. Like the
Right.
amount of parenting that what is well adjusted mean, but in other words, parents can be horrible and children can still grow up to thrive, which is not to say that that is an excuse to be horrible parents, but what I'm saying is it speaks to the resiliency of children.
Yeah. And what does thrive mean? What does that mean?
Yeah,
Does
no,
that mean
totally, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
yeah, absolutely.
well
Well,
and
and it
of
also
course
has to, a lot of it has to do too with like where you're, raising them, like the demographics. And we also talk about religion and stuff and like how, like, they're what they've been raised with also.
yeah. Well, like the religious classes, parenting classes my parents took, told them basically that we had to be perfect, that we should always toe the line, that we should always obey, that we should never question.
Well, yeah.
And so that didn't help at all.
No, it's
Well, not
actually
only that, my parents also believed that they were I don't know, whatever ours before boomers. They were older than boomers, okay? Whatever came before boomers, okay? They were old. Anyway, they believed that you always believe adults over children too.
Hmm.
So I would
That
tell
seems like
them
a
things and they never believed me, never once. And I learned very quickly that I no longer could trust coming to my parents with a problem because they weren't going to believe me anyway, especially if it pertained to another adult.
sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, which
It
means
was.
you're never going to
well.
talk
Then
to them about
also
sex or
growing up,
relationships.
we
Oh,
were
sorry.
told.
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
Evil, wait, I couldn't hear Grana. Then you go. I'm sorry, Grana, what were you saying?
I was just saying, because of that, you could never talk to them about sex or relationships or
Nope,
anything
I
else.
didn't. I didn't. As a matter of fact, when I got pregnant for the first time out of wedlock, um,
Sorry. Oh
my mother said, she really said this too, and this was a real conversation. She said, "Didn't I teach you anything about um, protection?" And I said, "No, frankly, you didn't. You didn't even have a talk with me about that."
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh, but that's horrible. It's horrible.
So she obviously didn't have anything to say because she never did talk to me about it.
Oh
So
my.
you don't get to judge me. You fucking literally did not teach me
Oh yeah,
anything about protection. I didn't even know. Like one time, my father said the word prophylactic. I had no idea what the fuck that word meant, and I was older too at the time he said it too.
I'm
Because
antiphylactic.
that's good to know. In case you're younger and you don't know what the word
That's a weird
prophylactic
wordplay, and I
means,
apologize.
it was a funny one though. It's a rubber. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a rubber for those people who don't know. Because who uses that word, right?
Well, and if you are anti-prophylactic, be sure that you upgrade to the recreational model, which is a form of a man getting a vasectomy. You just
Yeah, I was
upgrade
just
to the
gonna say I'm actually
recreational model.
pro-prophylactic. I'm sorry, I
I
should
know you are.
actually
Yes,
clarify.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Just
and
trying to be funny, and I
vasectomies
realize
aren't 100%.
Nothing's
No, they're
100%
not.
except for
No, no, they're
except
not.
for yeah, even if you do get a vasectomy, you have to go back and do tests to make sure it worked right, which some people don't do, and then they wonder why their wife got pregnant or their partner got pregnant.
the
Oh my
tests are fun, though. You know, the tests are. I'm just kidding.
god! And yes,
Rafa,
use your
you're on a roll
prophylactics,
today.
people.
Yes, be pro
No STIs.
prophylactic.
There
I
you
should
go.
like clip that. I should totally clip that.
Be pro
PSA.
prophylactic.
Wait,
Here you go. Take two. You guys ready?
sure.
PSA. Be pro prophylactic. Okay, now I'll clip that.
There you go.
Only us will know what it means, okay? Nobody else, but I put that clip out there, but we'll all be laughing. All 19 of
All right, Evil, what were you gonna say?
Oh, so back then, what like Gen X and some of us, we were always told that children were supposed to be seen and not heard. And so, like growing up, we didn't have a voice of anything. We just had to go with the flow, and that was it. And nowadays, these kids are like round up. Like, so I have four teenagers. I got two sets of twins. They're 14 and 16.
Wow.
And
Wow.
like doing right now, the
I'll be
hardest
right back.
part. Okay,
Is that
the
is
hardest
that
part. Oh, go ahead.
isn't there something called what do they call that? The twins that are 1 year apart. So there's like quadruplets that are 1 year apart.
Well, ours are 2 years and 22 days apart.
That's unbelievable.
And what was funny is my wife was told that she could never have kids for medical reasons,
Whoa.
and I tried a
How
little
biblical?
bit.
How biblical?
Oh yeah, and so we went and we saw a doctor, And he's like, well, we'll try this. And they put her on this fertility stuff. And, oh, it was, so they say it takes about, was it, a couple months for it to build in your system and start working. And I think she was pregnant, got pregnant within the first week. And we went back. We went back and talked to him, and he goes, buddy, this is all you. This was not the medicine. Because he wanted to, so I had kids from a previous relationship. So when they did the testing on her, they also wanted to test me. And we're like, no, I'm good. Don't worry about me. And he goes, well, all men say that, but we also need to check you. And I'm like, no, dude, trust me. I got this. And so I had a couple of friends, and they've been trying. And I said, okay, here's what you need to learn. You need to learn, like, when you're fertile, also when your husband is the most fertile. And she was like, what? And I was like, men have a lot to play in this. People, women just think, my eggs aren't working. No, men especially are extremely fertile early in the morning. And so we went with that. We also learned about what they call pooling. And so medically, pooling is when let's try this the right way. When you inseminate her, let's try this. I'm thinking really hard here. You want to have her pelvic area raised on the bed a little bit, and then to lay in that position for upwards of an hour, and that allows it to move down to where it needs to be, but allows it to pool and stay in a certain spot for proper, like.
I don't know how we got on this, but do you guys
Yeah,
know
I was
that
gonna
my
say,
He
picture?
was
get on
asking me
there,
about
people.
stuff,
Okay,
but I'll
Get
skip
on
this.
there.
But it was just, he was asking how twins, but
Oh,
so
okay.
people need to remember, men and women both need to work together and accept that people have different different things to work.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I put up a new topic. Let me address that real
Oh, okay.
quick. Thank you
Okay.
so much for tapping the screen.
Oh,
I'm gonna
oh,
be I'm gonna be live for about another hour, 20 minutes, unless we meet our gift goal. And then if we meet the gift goal, I'll stay live longer. But if you are a believer of a God or gods or a higher power, and you believe in Satan, I would love for you to come up. I want to talk about what makes someone satanic, because
ooh, I
I
love
hear
this
this
topic.
thrown around a lot by Christians specifically. They will call somebody satanic who, to me, shows no signs of Satanism or satanic possession. And I just want to know, how do you know? Hence, everything promoting egoism is satanic. Okay, well, you can come up and talk about it, or you could just yap in the chat. But it's more fun to come up and share your thoughts, and have a discussion. But meanwhile, if you guys don't mind to mute up again, Rav, I would love for you to hear Act Two. Do you mind? Do you have time? It's
I'm
a few
here.
minutes. All right, here's Act Two of A Seat at the Table. Maybe. Oh, here we go. A seat at the table. Who sits? Who stays? Who looks away? I watch a room dressed up as calm, soft light, familiar charm, easy jokes and easy laughs, no uniforms, no arms. A seat at the table. Who sits? Who stays? Who looks away? She's there, your friend, the gentle one, the kind you trusted most. She never shouts, she never sneers, she never leaves the toast. But listen close. They laugh about pronouns like it's clever wit. Roll eyes, call it play. They say trans bodies are the threat, bathrooms where monsters stay. They say think of the children. They say safety first. They say it's not enough to make the violence worse. Your friend says nothing. She smiles, she stares.
who stays, who looks away. I watch you notice what that costs, the silence dressed as grace. I watch you feel the table tilt and recognize the space. So you stand not to debate your humanity, not to translate your pain. You don't sit where lives are treated as a topic to explain. You don't perform your boundaries, you don't beg them to see. You leave the chair untouched and refuse their cruelty. And hear me now, because this still remains when laughter shields their cruelty. It shares in all the blame. I saw you refuse the table, then I saw you choose the line. You didn't raise your voice, you moved your feet. And that is how you don't earn a seat at the table. Who sits, who stays, who looks away. So don't stop here. This isn't the only room. Another table waits ahead, and its truth will come too soon.
Rav is responding to a message. All right, there you are, Rav. What did you think of Act Two? Thank you. Thank you. Incredible. Servant, the guest box is open. If you're over 18 and you want to come up and talk, we'd love to talk to you.
Really,
Meanwhile,
really quickly, I have to respond to something. I'm still
okay.
here, but there was I gotta find this quote for you. I can't remember what her name was. She was an activist in the '60s, but she said something like, "If there's no seat for you at the table, bring a folding chair."
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah, I gotta find out who said it. It was such a because she would literally bring a chair to these meetings that she was not like it wasn't even just like a yeah. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. While he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead while we're waiting for somebody to join us. I'm going to play Act Three for you all. This is the final table, final table from the triptych, A Seat at the Table. It is now available to pre-save on Spotify. You can find those links in my Discord. Link to the Discord is in my bio. By the way, thank you so much for 26,000 likes. Thank you for the 93 shares. If we can get that up to over 100, that really helps. Also, I do have a gift goal. If we reach the gift goal today, I will stay an extra hour. If not, I will be logging off in about hour 15 minutes. Gifts are not expected, but they're always appreciated. And by the way, you're helping me upgrade my equipment, and upgrading my equipment helps us so I can go live longer, make more anti sermons, make more music for you. So supporting me helps support the content, and I really appreciate every gift you send me. I really appreciate it. I do regift a lot of my gifts to other creators, so we try to spread the love around. Here is Act Three of A Seat at the Table. Oops, wrong one. A seat at the table. Who sits, who stays, who looks away? I see you hesitate now, not from fear but doubt. You lower your eyes at steady rooms, afraid to pull a chair out. You sit with scholars, poets, minds who shape the world with care, and still you ask yourself at night if you were meant to be there. A seat at the table, who sits, who stays, who looks away. You think of all the rooms you left, the chairs you would not take, and wonder if refusal costs more than it could make. But listen, those tables you refused to sit at did not close the door. They cleared the way for true rooms, for something stronger, more. You don't stumble into better company. You don't inherit grace. You earn your seat by what you refuse, by where you will not place your body, voice, your quiet yes, where cruelty is bad. Empathy recognizes empathy. Death calls out to death. That's how these tables find their own. Not by name, but by breath. A seat at the table. Who sits, who stays, who looks away. You thought refusal left you smaller, like you'd lose if you walked away. But every chair you would not take is why you're standing here today. You didn't climb on broken backs, you didn't laugh and look aside. You didn't make a home in rooms where other people had to hide. So don't rise, don't move, don't make it neat. I didn't come to test your worth, I came because you learned the truth. Where you sit is who you serve. I have been called by many names before, cut in clay and stone, in love and war, in dust and stars. I've never stood alone. But names don't matter at this table. Now not crown, not claim, not fame. What matters is the cost you paid every time you wouldn't play their game. So I sit with you now, not above, not apart, not because you asked, but because you earned your place. My heart, I am a Queen of heaven, yes, but tonight I do not reign, I stay here. Because wisdom doesn't harbor hide, or wait to be enabled. Wisdom knows when truth is earned its place and pulls up this
Wow.
I was so totally vibing.
The two lines that got me the most were, you earn your seat by what you refuse. And then the cost you pay every time you wouldn't play the game. And then, of course, you go on to talk about how, but you found a seat at the table where you're basically where you're loved and cared about,
Where you sit is who you serve.
Yes.
And
That's
Dr. Ajam said, Dr. Ajam, you said, oh my God, Crystal, you keep dropping hits. Dr. Ajam, you are one of the people that make me so happy that I get to sit at your table. Every time I see you in chat, I'm like, I get to sit at a table with this amazing human being. I love you too. So that is my triptych, and I want to thank you all for letting me share that with you guys today. It is available for pre-save on Spotify right now, and it has been released to every streaming site, so it should be available everywhere pretty soon. I'll let you know when by the way, I have a team, okay, and my team is what who told me that they that I should do it as a separate thing. My team is Sunny, Tahir, and Schley, and I think they were right on the
Good
on.
team.
Um, oh yeah, I could do that. Let me.
Well, Crystal, I've had so much fun, but I actually have food poisoning, so I have to go and just rest for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get better soon.
Oh no, nothing to be sorry about. I'm so glad that was so powerful and something I really needed to hear today. So thank you. Leah and I now have great understanding that we never had before.
And remember also, you guys, that all of these, all of the sermons are available to download in my Discord.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Have a great day. I hope you feel better soon. I just wanted to make sure I put this exactly the way I have it listed. So there it is. That is how it is listed. Grab. That was not me singing. I wrote the lyrics. I use an app called Suno. Um, I don't know what that is. I use Suno for the music and
Hooray.
vocal. Oh, okay. If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. I love that. If you are in the chat and you want to come up, if you are a believer of a god or gods that also entails a Satan figure, and you want to come up and talk today and explain to us what it means to, if somebody is satanic, I'd like to understand this more. If you guys block all the Christians, I will never have any Christians.
We need them up on the panel.
I'd like to yeah, let's tell here. What did he say? What did he say? We want his not. can you will, right?
Just from what I've seen, experienced, and everything else, it's like, yeah, we hold ourselves to a higher standard because we kind of have to. Like, it feels like Satanism, again, for me, is more like a movement against Christianity by using their own tools against them.
Yeah, I do see that a lot. I know the Satanic Temple specifically does it quite for political reasons. They'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, okay, they are a recognized church, and for instance, like when states like Texas say we're going to put the Ten Commandments in every school, the Satanic Temple will then go, then fine, we're going to put whatever the equivalent, because they have something similar in the
It's
Satanic Temple.
the after school Satan's Club.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
In
So
Tennessee, I helped found one of those.
that's awesome.
It was the
So
Satanic Children's Ministry, and it's an
right, and
after-school program. I don't even know if they still do it. I hope they do.
they do it. So I also help here locally where I'm from. I help with the local Satanic Temple,
Mm-hmm.
and so what the Satanic Temple, most of what they do is to fight against, like religious stuff. Like say our state capitol, they allow Christmas and carols and all this stuff to go on at the state house, but they're not allowing others to bring in their religion. And so one year, a couple of years, they allowed the temple to put up a Baphomet and stuff, and now they won't allow them to bring it in because of backlash. And so now they're telling them they need to remove all this other religion stuff because it goes against the separation of church and state. Plus, they're allowing one, but not all.
Right. Right. And that's what they do. They help fight political battles for us
Hmm.
because they know this is what we know, that Christians want Christianity in every aspect of our life, whether we want it or not. They want it to be pushed into every aspect of our life, right? And the Satanic Temple goes, listen, because they're using, they're trying to say that they can do this. Instead of fighting them and saying, no, 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 you can't, it would be easier for us to say, fine, if you get to do that, we get to too, because we want equal rights. And Christians don't want them in everything. So then a lot of times Christians will back off because they'll be like, well, I don't want this in the schools if the Satanists get to also have it in schools. And it
Correct.
helps. It's a political, it is a political tool.
Mm-hmm. It's pushback, and if
It
we
is.
had pushed back a little sooner, I don't know, a couple 100 years ago,
Yeah, maybe
We'd be a lot further.
yeah,
we
we would.
would.
But I think so. I know a lot of people now are, with our, I call this the
Wait, wait,
information age.
wait, 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 wait. Zombified. Who's Christian nationalist at heart? Who is that? I'm confused. Is it? Are you saying the Satanic Temple is? I'm confused. Need to know. Clear that up. Zombified. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So with all the, information at our fingertips now and everything, I think, and I hope it's true, people are starting to wake up and realize a lot of the stuff that they've been fed and ingrained within their heads and stuff, all this Christian stuff, they're coming to realize that a lot of it's not real, that there's more to life than just this. And so now they're starting to reach out and find, all these different religions and different things to help them and how they can fit it. A lot of people start with like paganism or like Wicca, witchcraft, and stuff like that. But it's great seeing people making individuals of themselves now.
Yeah. Zombified said no. The Christians in America. Okay, I got
Oh,
confused
okay.
there. I don't want anybody to think that he said something he wasn't saying, because that's my friend. I just
Hail
didn't
Jeebus.
understand what he was saying. I just got confused. That's why I was clarifying. Okay, y'all. I was just confused for a second. Um, if you are a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible and you believe in this Satan and you believe there are people who are satanic, I would love for you to come up and explain to me. I see Christians in the comments. I don't know why no Christians, are coming up today. I don't know if everybody got word from the Holy Spirit that Crystal's really fucking powerful and you shouldn't talk to her because she will totally deconstruct you on the spot. Maybe that's what happened. Did
Ye of little faith.
Holy Spirit send out a message today and told you, don't go on Crystal J's live, you will deconstruct. Because
I
that
mean,
hasn't
Or
we've got
happened
two Satanists right here on the panel to talk to. Not atheists, mind you. I
I'm a
assume.
well, yeah, I'm a Luciferian. Well, so that's I. So I don't like labels or branding, but I identify with Luciferianism, and I also work with the Church of Lucifer, and trying to bring that to the Midwest. And actually, I really enjoy it because, like, we're not uh, worshiping anything but ourselves.
Yep. And that's not a selfish thing. That's not
No,
something that we should celebrate ourselves. Why is that so controversial and like bad? It makes no
it.
sense.
Vinny Day says maybe we just don't want to deal with narcissists. I find that funny. You worship a narcissist. His name is
he.
Yahweh and Jesus.
Oh,
And then you say you don't want to deal with narcissists. So why are you worshiping one?
and
But just because I find
very
myself to be amazing, it doesn't mean that I'm like I am better than everyone. I celebrate myself. It doesn't make me a narcissist. I still
No, it
love
doesn't.
people and everything like that more than the average Christian, I'll add.
Christians don't know what narcissist means. They don't understand that that's actually a word in psychology. There's an actual definition from it. It's not just a word to mean that you love yourself. Okay, there's definitely a diagnosis that needs to go. Okay,
right. It's
and them
that's
just throwing it around, it literally minimizes what an actual diagnosis is for.
and that's why they had to include religious psychosis into the manuals now too.
Yep. I mean, the Bible just tells them to hate themselves from start to finish and
That
to only rely on their narcissist to be loved. And so I guess when someone is like, I celebrate myself, they see it as, Satan, like a sin. It's evil to celebrate oneself.
Well, people mock what they don't understand also. So if they
Yeah.
don't understand it or have any comprehension of it, they're just going to attack it automatically.
Mhm.
And actually, that's why I like to have these conversations because we do a lot of mocking in these spaces. Christians mock us, we mock them. It happens, it
Oh,
goes back and forth. But I want to
I've
have these.
never done that.
Oh, I have. I definitely mock Christians.
No,
I'm
never
gonna lie.
me.
I,
You're an angel.
I'm sorry. I
I
do.
did
I even mock.
not. I did not spend 3 hours in a live last night having fun with anybody.
I
I
love
mock
it. It's
who
just
I
annoying.
was as a Christian. I was just the worst Christian, and I mock that all the time. But I want to have these conversations because I want to understand you better. And people will tell you that I have been trying to be much calmer on in my conversations, ask more questions, and really try to understand where people are coming from. And I want to understand what believers mean when they say someone is satanic, because some believers mean that that just means you're not following God. And other believers mean that it is a conscious choice to follow Satan and to turn from God. And others believe that demons actually have to possess you for you to be satanic. So I'm just trying to learn what your idea of satanic is as a believer. Yeah, they attack anything that brings them out of their comfort zone. Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean,
Really
but let's
fragile
let's
thing.
just say we people do that. That is true. We need both respectful dialogue and tearing their ideas apart mercilessly. Yes, we do. We need both those things for sure. Uh,
You know, you
but
said the second to last thing you said about turning away from God and choosing Satan, that being quote unquote satanic. I
mhm.
feel like the Satan aspect of Christianity actually did help me deconstruct. Because once you read the book, he is not the antagonist. He's not the bad guy. Like, Satan is
Right.
sitting here like, hey guys, there's a better way. And hey, this guy, like Job, you know, he's like,
Yeah.
this is not good, Job. And he's like, eh, you know. So it seems
Well,
like he's constantly trying to like help people. And and then somehow the book gaslights people into believing that he's the problem.
Well, actually, it gaslights us so bad that as a Christian, you are told that Satan comes to destroy and kill. Okay, and it says that he has done it. And it says that's what he's trying to do now, right? Only the thing is that when you leave Christianity and you start to deconstruct, you realize that there is no point in the Bible where Satan ever does anything without God's approval. And that God kills more people in the Bible than Satan ever does.
exactly. So, and a lot of Christians, so Satan, Satan or the devil was actually stolen or taken from another religion that was like 6,000 years before Christianity came about. But Christianity had to take it. And the reason they did that is when you want somebody to follow, like, say, God, you have to have a bad thing. You have to have fear and control. So what you do is you tell them, hey, you need to go and do this and this and this. If you do not follow this, you're going to go to the bad guy. You're going
Yeah,
to, go to fire and brimstone and be tortured for all eternity. So it's a part of manipulation on their part to gain control of people. And so
absolutely.
they're puppets. There's like little Mr. Geppetto up there with his little thing moving them around and going, hey, don't do this, don't do this. And they're living
Bible
in
verse about
pure,
that, like being able to be led around by a hair or something. Like that's
yeah.
so strong.
So it's amazing that they live in constant fear. Like they're always being watched what they're doing and trying to conform to all this.
Hi, Tahir. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. I have to respond to deconstruction deacon really quick. Um, you are not alone. People fucking love Dark Crystal, and I think they try sometimes to bring her out. Okay, like they're like, let's get her to talk to this guy. He'll bring Dark Crystal out. So no, you're not alone in that. People like it when I snap. Ty here, what's new?
Not a whole lot. Same day, same you know what. But or new day, same whatever. But no, I was just thinking cuz how someone had said, they attack anything that brings them out of their comfort zone. That, that is true. And like you said, that's true for a lot of people. But I think the biggest thing with Christianity is like, on the one hand, like you guys said, you're taught to think that so much is bad. Thinking for yourself is bad. Talking to people like outside of the religion, like their perspectives on things is bad. But then also you have the teachings of the religion, which in itself you're indoctrinated into othering people,
Yeah.
this place, this tribe, this denomination, us versus them. And so like that's why they view anybody who's not a Christian, and even to some extent who are the same denomination of Christianity, as others, and therefore something to fear or to buck against. And so all of that, and like the chop down on critical thinking, like none of that is conducive to the conversations that we want to have, including the one that's on your background, because they're going to come with that indoctrination and those preconceived notions. So, I think that it is a conversation that should be had just to humanize people, so that in the same way that atheists, deserve to be humanized as well, because when I was a Christian, I thought that Satanists and atheists were the same and that they literally did worship the devil,
That's why I'm asking the question. I really
Exactly.
that is why I'm asking the question, because there are Christians who believe simply by not believing in this God, you are satanic. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to know is that how do you qualify that? Where do you get that from? Like, what makes you think such a thing? I don't believe in the Satan any more than I believe in the God. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in the angels. I don't believe in your demons. I don't believe in all of that. And so for you to say I'm satanic is just as funny as you calling me a leprechaun. It's just
Yep.
so funny to me. I'm like,
Yep.
what are you talking about? I don't believe in any of this shit.
Yeah, it's
What are
all
you talking about?
nonsense. Yeah. So,
You know, it's
oh, go
funny.
ahead.
So it's funny. They will sit here in the comments and be little keyboard warriors and stuff,
Yeah.
but none of them have enough faith in their religion to come up and talk to us.
It's not even their religion. They don't have enough faith in their God, because as a Christian, 100%, tell me if you guys believe this, 100%. I believed that if I was talking to somebody about God, it was God talking through me. So
Yeah.
you are telling me you don't have enough faith in your own God to talk to me. You are like, I believe in God, but not that much. If I go up there, she's gonna make me look like a fool because my God has no power over her. She is going to know the Bible better than my God does. She's gonna have wiser words than my God does. You all have no faith in your God whatsoever. You have you are scared because you still think it's you that's gonna come up here and talk to me, because it is you who's going to come up here and talk to me, because there is no God, and that's why you don't have faith in it.
Hey,
You
Finny.
just prove my point the more you sit in the chat.
Finny Days, come on up. If you have enough faith in your religion, in your God, in your words,
No, we're
come
not
on
going to
up,
beg
hit
him to
that
come
join
up.
button.
I don't even want him to come up. He thinks we're
King
We're
guy.
narcissists because
encouraging.
he's a
We're
narcissist.
gently encouraging. We're gently encouraging you to
I
come
wanna play
on.
toy.
Come on. We just want to talk.
I don't need to talk to Finny though. Finny has nothing to say. That's why he's not coming up, and I don't want to talk to him. He just really sounds ignorant.
Okay,
But
not you.
And probably definitely under 18.
Oh
yeah,
no.
That's why most of them can't come up, as
yeah, it's
they're
true.
under the age.
That's crazy. Also, I have pneumonia right now, so if I sound stuffed up, that's why.
I am so
Yeah,
sorry.
get
Oh
well
my
soon.
goodness. Oh
I'm
my
at the
God. I
tail end
had,
of it. It's fine.
oh
Uh,
wow.
but just really quickly, I wanted to say that's why these conversations are important. And it is a challenge, to get them in here and get them up. But, that doesn't mean stop trying. But I do got to jump down. Thanks for having me up.
Ty
Bye.
here. You always
Sorry,
have
I'm
to
Blessed
say,
be. Have an
working.
awesome day.
I love you,
You too,
Ty.
guys.
I talk to you later. That's one of my team right there. Okay, that's Tahir. Make sure you're following Tahir. Tahir is one of the admins for the Deconstruction Junction Discord server. If you're not a part of the Discord server, the link is in my bio, but also join my Discord server. When you join my Discord server, you get all of my sermons in a document format that you can download and read on your own time. You also get all my songs before anybody else does. You get all my announcements before anybody else does. And pretty soon we're going to have some private voice channels in there where we're going to do some very special live events with a lot of my friends in the deconstruction community. So if you want to be a part of some of those little private conversations that we'll be having, you need to join my Discord server.
Benny is kind of crashing out in the comments.
No, he can't handle himself.
Ah,
I'm enjoying watching it. Oh, by the way, YouTube, I love you, and I haven't said hi to you today, and I didn't mean. I think I said hi when I first popped you up, but I love everybody over on YouTube, and I want to thank everybody who's been going over to my YouTube. You guys have helped me so much get my watch hours up. If you are not subscribed to me on YouTube, I am Crystal J, all one word. I am Crystal J. Jae is how you spell it. Oh, I love looking at all the comments. Thank you so much. Somebody watched the triptych, said very inspirational. Love the story in the lyrics. Bravo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Sad Tech Geek. Thank you so much. Satan's end is the lake of fire. His angels will be there, and all those who reject God. Why don't you come up, Jared, and talk to me about? Love to hear more about Satan and what is going to happen with us with Satan. I am trying to understand Satan and what satanic means to people. The guest box is open.
So, like, can I run a random thought by you?
Sure.
It's related to Satan and the Bible and all that good
Mhm.
stuff. So, Satan left, right, where he was kicked out, quote unquote, because he tried to take over God. He was like, you're really fucked up and I've got a problem with it. And then God kicked him out. What if, like, Satan and all the other angels left and now heaven is empty? And in order to fill it, God has to tell people that they're going to burn and be tortured for an eternity if they don't
Mm.
love him.
I've thought about that a lot too, Lilith, because
Yeah.
if this God is so
Our thought.
fucking amazing, right? He's so loving, he's so good, he's just the most awesome fucking God ever, then why did Israel keep running from him, and why did a third of the angels leave?
Yep. I mean, get cast out. Yeah, they didn't leave.
Well, I mean, no. You have to remember, a third of them chose to go with Satan.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So they chose to leave. A third of them did. They went, fuck this guy. And they left with Satan when Satan got kicked out. So
Like, if I was a
I'm just
narcissist
saying,
trying to manipulate, would I say all of them or would I say a third of
oh,
them? You know what
I
I'm
see
saying?
what you're saying. Yeah, like maybe all of them left. But here's the thing, like also that just means he was probably abusive. They saw the abuse. They said, I'm getting out. Eve
And they
saw
were in
the abuse.
heaven. Like, they could be just like that. They were literally in heaven when they'd realized this. It's not like they were in hell or on earth. They were seeing it firsthand and still said, this is messed up.
Hey, Finny Day, you're now muted. If you want to come up, you can come up, but I'm not gonna watch you yap anymore in the chat. You're muted for the rest of the live unless you come up.
have the day you deserve.
I'm really tired of being called a narcissist by somebody who doesn't even know the definition of the word. You can scroll to a different live if you want and go yell at them, but I'm not gonna keep listening to today in chat. I'm tired of little pussy mogs who are too, I didn't want to say pussy anymore because pussies are awesome and mogs are not. Of little feckless
Feckless. Yes.
mogs who will yap and yap and yap and chat but will not pull up a chair and talk. You're a keyboard warrior, and I'm just done with it. I'm just so over it. Grow some
Like a
balls and get
bunch of
up here.
crusty rags. They gross.
I'll probably have a bunch of like people trying to message me after this and keep in my inbox. I get that. What was it? One night I was in another person's live, and they were in there trying to do all their stuff. And once we ended the live, all of a sudden my message requests have like 50 some messages in it.
That's crazy. You guys, I'll be live for just a half hour more unless we meet the gift goal. And if we don't, that's okay. Gifts are appreciated. They're never expected. Every time you gift, though, you are helping me upgrade my equipment. That would have been moved by now, but I have to buy a new phone because I jumped in. Look at that. I'll show you guys how horrible this is. I jumped in my pool to save my doggy. I don't know if you can see, but it is. Oh no, it's a horrible camera now. I ruined the camera and I ruined the microphone, so I have to get a new phone so that I can have my iPad back. That's what I'm using now to go live. To be my research tool and stuff that I use. But we're gonna upgrade all the equipment. So
Is your dog okay?
my dog is fine. What happened? My dog is older. It was rainy. It was really dark and rainy outside, and I had just started a new food for him. And so, you know how that can affect their digestion. So, in the middle of the night, on New Year's Eve night, he was like, "I gotta go," and I'm like, "Oh man, okay." So I got up and I let him out. And you have to, like, if it's raining, I have to walk out into the rain so he will follow me and know it's okay, right? So I do that, but then I was like, okay, he went off to do his thing. I'm going to walk back in and stand in the house while he does his thing because it's raining, right? And I was just standing at the sliding glass door looking at my phone or whatever, and I looked up and I could see the water in the pool moving, and I was like, oh,
No.
fuck. And I'm like, yell to my husband who's sound asleep with his CPAP machine on and everything. He's like, what? And I'm like, George. And then I threw my headphones off, I guess, but I in the rain. I like left them in the rain. I still, I almost lost my headphones too. And I jumped in the pool and got him over to the side because the problem was that he knows how to get out the pool. So I'm not usually afraid of him falling in the pool. He knows how to get out, but couldn't reach the steps because of all the rain. The water had rose so high that his little feet couldn't touch
Oh
the steps,
no.
and it was freezing cold too. So I was afraid he would get like hypothermia or whatever, you know. So drowning, hypothermia. I'm freaking out, right? So I jumped in the pool, and it wasn't until I came inside that I realized in that moment I instinctively stuck my phone in my pocket when I
Oh,
didn't know what to do with it. Like my brain was like, you can't throw it. Like you can't, oh, just stick it in your pocket. And I just jumped in with it in my pocket. But he's fine. He's fine now. Um,
good.
I won't be letting him outside though in the night time like that without like watching him now. He it's just hard for him to see because he's so old now. So he just like probably misstepped, I guess, and fell in.
Poor baby.
Yeah, and he's little and poor little guy. He couldn't get out and he was scared. And then I was scared and then I cried. That was
Oh.
the
I bet everyone slept really good that night, though.
huh.
YouTube isn't working. Uh-oh.
Okay, and it looks like it hasn't been working for a little minute. Sorry about that, YouTube. Trying to fix it right now. Yep. You know, I don't know why they do this now. Why do they give you a puzzle while you're supposedly watching something on YouTube? And then I don't notice that the puzzle comes up. This is why I need to upgrade my equipment, y'all. This is why I cannot stay consistent on YouTube because of stupid shit like this. And I won't have to do this once I upgrade my equipment. I am so sorry, YouTube. I really do love you. I really do want to build my platform on YouTube. But the way I have to do this with OBS and capturing I know that people who don't stream don't understand all this. OBS to capture a Chrome browser, I won't notice it when TikTok decides to make me do a puzzle over there, and then it freezes the whole show. So I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Thank you, Tahir, though, for letting me know. I appreciate you.
W mod.
Absolutely. You guys, I'm going to be live for just 25 more minutes. I'd love to talk to you, Redeemed, if you want to come up. Tell us about what makes somebody satanic. I don't care. Talk to me about whatever you want to talk to me about. If you are friendly and you just want to come up and talk for the last 25 minutes, we could do that too. We could get some friendlies up here. I'd love to hear from you. You can let me know what's going on. What conversations have you been having? What maybe something really inspirational you heard from somebody. maybe something really fucking funny Mezzo and Joel did on live recently. Mezzo
Oh my
went live
god,
last night.
double-crossed buddies.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny is when you're on a panel and there's multiple Christians on it, and you just mute up and let them fight amongst themselves.
It's true. That is a true thing that actually happens. We talk about that a lot on this show. If you really,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
it's just true. It's just funny because I used to do African atheist lives a lot, and I love her, and you guys should follow her too. And we would get two Christians up there, and we wouldn't even have to do anything; it just would happen. They would start debating and all of us would mute up. Hi, Alexander. And that was fun to watch. Like they would just like go at each other over the stupidest shit, like the Trinity or baptism or whether you faith or works, like whatever
Actually,
bullshit.
we had a funny one the other night. So he was doing his little crash out, his little speech thing, and what was funny is had muted him, and we're like, I wonder if he's still going on, and so they unmuted him, and he's still sitting there yelling, so they muted him again, and this went on for like probably a good 5 minutes. The guy had no clue that he had been muted.
That's funny. That reminds me of the crash out that Menard did on Justin Deconstruction Zone's live. I don't know if you guys know who Menard is, but he's just this just awful. Is he? I can't remember. I think he's Muslim, not Christian. But he will join a live, and he is recording himself on YouTube when he joins the live. So whoever's live he is on is um, unsuspectingly like providing content for his because he doesn't have any content when he tries to just go live himself. So he has to use other creators. And so he went on Justin's live and he was just crashing out so hard that Justin kept muting him. And when he did that, we could still see Minar, like, and you could see the entire time that he's muted. And Justin even would tell him, just so you know, you're muted right now. Nobody can hear you. And you could just see him fucking crashing out the entire time. Like, and it's like
Oh
nobody
my god,
even
his
can hear
camera was on.
me.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
it's
Yeah, so
hilarious.
they've got this new technique that they're trying to do. It's called steamrolling. Well, they just talk as fast and loud as they can to try to just, and so it's just
Uh,
great to mute them.
that's an old trick by Haverson. What's
It's
his name?
old, but
Yeah,
the the young
it's
crowd is
gish
trying to do
galloping.
it.
It's just gish galloping basically, but
Yeah,
loud.
the new ones are trying it, and it isn't working too well.
No, it never does work very well to try to have conversations like that.
I can't remember whose live it was, but this morning someone was crashing out and they just kept muting him over and over and over, and it was making like a beat.
Oh
So
my God, that's
Oh,
funny.
made like a beat.
Oh, that would be cool to record that and then do like a mix that
Oh
into
my
a
god,
song or
yeah.
something. Silly Goose said, I just found out some people have and don't have internal monologue. Uh, I have an internal monologue, and when I found that out, Silly Goose, that blew my mind because I remember trying to learn how to meditate. People would say, "Hey, do you want to like meditate?" And I would be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And they were like, "Oh, you just sit, be quiet, be still, try to control your breath and just empty your mind of all its thoughts." And I was like, oh, okay. So like I, sat down and I just started breathing softly. And then I was like, oh, okay. So empty my mind. And this is my internal dialogue now. Okay. Okay. Empty my mind of all my thoughts. Okay. But I'm thinking about emptying my mind of all my thoughts. You know what? I'm supposed to control my breathing. I'll start controlling my breathing. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe I should breathe in through my mouth. And this is the dialogue that's going on the entire time. My mind is supposed to be empty. And suddenly I realize, oh my God, my brain will not shut the fuck up. I don't understand how people empty their mind of all their thoughts. My mind does not shut the fuck up. And then one day, as an adult silly goose, I was told that there are people who don't have that internal monologue. And I was like, that's bullshit. Okay, first of all, you guys do not know, all of you who don't have an internal monologue do not know how noisy it can be inside your brain when you have
So
one. It is
noisy.
so fucking noisy.
The
I just wanted
voices in my head go do 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 do.
to.
Trying to
That
meditate is like internally screaming in
it
place.
is. Oh my
If
It's
I
God.
not fun.
so depending
It's,
on the music, so like so going to like getting an MRI,
ugh,
you're supposed to lay there peaceful, quiet, not
Yeah.
try to do anything. Like what do you want to listen to? And so one day I was like, I don't know. So I was like, let's listen to, this. And she kept going, you're tapping your feet, you're dancing. And I'm like, huh? And I didn't realize it. So then I started thinking, oh, let's do Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. She said, dude, you were snoring so loud in the tube because it put me to sleep.
That's so funny. Tahir is right. She said also the inner monologue was Jesus for a long time for Crystal. It was, okay? I
Oh,
thought I thought my internal monologue was Jesus because like he talked to me and told me I mean, I also knew I had my own voice in my head, but certainly I was in constant conversation with Jesus because he was my best friend. So like
that's an interesting outlook.
I just
That's a
talked and talked in my head to Jesus, and then he talked back to me in my same fucking voice because it was me all along.
that's a very interesting outlook on that though too.
Slay understands, yeah, because they tell you to never cease praying, right? So in my mind, that meant if I'm to never cease praying, praying is just communication with God, then that's who I should be talking to. Like that is who this conversation should be directed towards. And it was a part of my deconstruction to stop doing that. Okay, because as a Christian, I mean, I say this, but we now know that all of us are taught different things. But in my Christian life, we were taught that that doubt was a form of like separation from God. That was pretty much the worst thing you could do because that meant that your faith was not strong.
yep.
Doubt means a weak faith. Weak faith means separation from God.
Which means
And
hell
that,
for eternity.
yeah, which could mean an eternal, yeah, if you happen to die at the wrong moment as a Christian in
Which
your
could be
walk,
any moment.
any
I got
moment,
told that
then
a
you could,
lot. Like, you could die right now. Right now, you could die. You could die. Did you
yeah,
just sin without asking for forgiveness? And what happens
yeah,
if you die right now? You always have to
yeah,
pray. Always have to
yeah.
ask for forgiveness.
So I was in a constant communication with them. So one day I started to realize that I don't think I really believed in anymore. That I remember thinking something along the lines of why do I believe this to not be mythology, but I think every other god that like if you show me any other god, I'm going to think, oh, that's really cool. That's what our ancestors used to think. They used to believe that because that's mythology. And I understand why they used to because those were primitive people. That's what I thought, right? And so I was thinking to myself one day, why don't I think the same way about the Bible and everything? And I was like, um, hmm, what if I don't talk to him anymore? What if I just stop? What if I like, does that mean that all of a sudden my whole life is going to go to shit? And I'm not kidding you. In this moment in time in my life, I thought, because like it can't get much worse sometimes for me. Like, so there's so many fucking shitty things that have happened. Like, really? Is it going to get worse? Right? If I just stop talking to him? Because he fucking hasn't done anything to make it better. Right?
It's
So I did.
scary.
I just stopped talking to him. And then I realized yeah, I don't believe in him anymore. And I do think this is all mythology. I really wouldn't start like deconstructing everything though. That just was a time in my life where I realized I didn't believe it anymore and I wasn't going to participate. But it wouldn't be till I met this community before I started going, oh my God, the stupid shit that I believed. Like, what on earth? I thought a fucking donkey talked. I thought a donkey, and
The
I
thing
didn't
that gets
want,
me the most
and it
is
wasn't
I
strep.
was sorry.
No, that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
It wasn't, that was just the ending line. It wasn't strep.
I feel so guilty about all of the kids, my fellow children, that I was sent out to indoctrinate. I was sent every summer from 12 to 14 to work 6 days a week at a summer camp, a Christian summer camp. And I was a counselor in charge of 8-year-olds. Okay, in charge of 8-year-olds. And
Wow.
we did Bible studies. Our art thing was, Bible related. Fishing was Bible related. And it was like, how can we get all of these kids to accept God before they leave camp? And I was so passionate in the cult that I really tried to save these, quote unquote, save these kids. And
Yeah.
looking back, it was so embarrassing, but also I feel so bad. I'm just like, I hope that they got out of it if it stuck,
Yeah.
because I feel responsible. I mean, I was just a kid, of course, but like a
Of
part of
course
me
you were.
still feels responsible for it.
I brought many people to Jesus. I see Lathe says that they didn't, and they used to feel sad about that, but now they're happy that they didn't. And I think that part of the reason why I do the things I do is to maybe do some kind of cosmic balancing system where I'm like, maybe if I can undo some people, it will make up for the people that I brought to Jesus. I don't know, but to I need more people to know. I need, especially women. I want women to know, why are you worshiping a God of men? They're patriarchal, they're misogynistic. Why do you continue to worship this God? Any God that tells women that they are less than, why? And I want to just tell every woman, stop it. Stop
It's
it.
never too late to stop.
It's
It's
not.
not
It's
you,
not too
you
late.
can't waste more time. You can only save the time that you have left. Like, just
Exactly.
stop.
The
Do you
Bible
know how
and that
many
how
women
they're less
it
than dogs.
do you know that how many men would stop going to church if the women in their house would say, well, I don't want to go to church. Do you know how many men are dragged to
Oh,
church on Sunday morning? A
yes.
lot. A lot of men. I knew so many women at church who were like, they would be, like, I have to get Bob up. I have to force him every time. It's just this big
Hmm.
ordeal on Sunday morning. And if you would stop, he would stop. The churches would lose money. Oh my God, it would be such a beautiful moment in history.
They
So
even make
join
fun of
me.
that in like sitcoms.
They do.
Well, don't forget the little, the little cliques and the little church groups and all
No, the
that
church
stuff.
food. Ugh, not the church food. I can't think of all that without thinking about the church food.
Oh,
Okay.
so I used to go to one, and it was a smaller church, and so what they'd do is a couple of the members have this really huge house, and so after church, a lot of people would go to their house for dinner, and all the food was so good.
Oh, dang, you lucked out.
I was the one that could cook at our church. So thank you, Fana. On Thanksgiving we would do like a open house for the whole 4 days. And so on Thanksgiving I would do a regular Thanksgiving dinner, and then the next day we did leftovers, and then on Saturday I made turkey enchiladas. And then I think I've already told you guys my story about how I used to make wontons, but I used to call them something else because I grew up in a time where we said things that we shouldn't say, and so they were called something else, but they're fried wontons, and everybody from the church would, it was open, you could come anytime you wanted, you didn't have to set up a time with me, but people were in and out of my house for the whole weekend so they could eat all the food that I made. So when I brought stuff to the potluck, it was already always gone, but I
I
did
love
not like eating other people's food at the potluck, and neither did my kids. We never did. I don't know why, but we
that.
just
Weird.
knew. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat at potlucks from people that I don't know. I don't trust other people's cooking.
No, me
I
neither. Me
barely trust
neither.
a restaurant.
I know.
Oh, see,
Same. Same.
I go to, I used to go to all kinds of people's houses and eat all the time. I'm like, dude, it's free food. I'm a fat kid. Feed me.
It was so bad. I see.
Oh,
I wanted to be like that, but the food was just like bland, soggy
Oh no,
spaghetti noodles with
you got the wrong
breaded
friends.
cheese
Then
on top.
you got to make friends with the good cooks.
There were no good
oh,
cooks. This was punishment church. This was not happy food church.
Oh,
no. Nope. Nope.
that was one of
Yeah.
the main reasons I would go is for all the food. And then some of them, they're like, what? So I drove back then like a beater car. You know, it was like $100 car. And one day they were like, oh, well, we noticed that you were having issues with it. What would it take to help get your car going? And so they put together this pool of money. And I was like, oh, free money. So guess what they got to finance? Me being in a hotel for the weekend. I went to the bar for 3 days. And I got to see 3 different concerts. So,
Yeah. I mean, if the concerts were good.
well, yeah, back then. Let me see. One of them was financed me to see Motley Crue back in the
Wow.
80s.
You guys, we're going to start wrapping things up here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Tomorrow is non-believers Bible study. And in February, we're going to be switching that, I think, to Thursday so that Rab can be with me for every non-believers Bible study. Because I really appreciate having Rabbi there. He helps us understand the traditions of the Jewish people, the actual original Hebrew translation, and he and I have kind of a fun relationship where he gets to learn how Christians view the same text. And I think it's way more interesting when Rab is there. So we're working on that so that we could bring you a more consistent, more in-depth non-believers Bible study. We are still in numbers. We will eventually one day get out of there. I promise you. I promise you. But we'll be doing that tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here on this channel. And then I'll be live Thursday and Fridays unless my daughter-in-law goes into labor this week, at which point my lives will stop for a while. And once she gives birth, I'll be flying out to Texas for a few weeks and I'll be taking a few weeks off. So if I suddenly disappear and you only see me pop in, I haven't quit. Okay. My show is coming back in February. We will start having Decon Q&A with Crystaljae on Sunday right after Mezzo's Ask. And so you'll make sure to join me here after you get some ask from Mezzo. You just come over here, okay? And we'll do Decon Q&A with Crystaljae. And then we'll be doing Bible study. I think on Thursdays is what we're probably switching it to. And then conversations with Crystal the rest of the week, except for Saturdays. I also have the triptych called A Seat at the Table. It is now available to be pre-saved on Spotify. Check that out in Discord, Deconstruction Junction, or you can check out my Discord and you can get the link to that. I will be releasing, hopefully, this week, my Deconstruction album, the one you have all been waiting for with Ex Parte. Ex Parte, Consent, all of those songs will be on my album. I have one more song I'm writing, and I don't want to say it a lot because the last time I said what it was, it turned out to be its own album. So I don't want to do that this time because what if it comes out to be another album that I'm not expecting to write? So check out my Discord, please. Check out all the links in my bio. And if you want to support my show, gifts always support me. But if you want to support it more directly, there are links in my bio to my Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. And every time you support, I just put it back into the show. I'm upgrading my equipment. I'm making, but like I have to pay for things to help create things. Like putting my stuff on Spotify isn't free. You actually have to pay for a company to do that for you. Um, paying for the programs I use to make the videos and the songs, those all cost money. So it costs money to be a creator, and I just want you to know your money's not wasted. If you enjoy my content, if I help you, if I've supported you in any way, when you gift me, I do everything I can to give that back to you in some way through the content I make. And I appreciate every single thing. Thank you so much, Silly Goose, for the roses. I appreciate everything you guys do for me. I'm going to end with a song. I'm going to ask Ty here, what song do you want me to close the show on? Any song in my library. And you know my my library, Ty here, so you get to pick. I think I know what it's going to be, but I'm going to let you pick, Ty here. Look at it. Is it what I think? Okay, it wasn't. I thought it was going to be ex parte, but you guys, here we go. Here is consent. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the shares. Thank you for all the gifts.
Thank
Evil
you
Llama,
for having
Lilith,
me
thank you
up.
for coming up.
I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
I really appreciate you both being here. It really means a lot to me. Here we go. Consent. Oops, sorry. I didn't have my volume turned up. Let's try again. Consent. It's not an option to me. Consent. Respect the boundaries. C-O-N-S-E-N-T. No prayer. No prayer. No touch, don't speak to me without my fucking C-O-N-S-E-N-T. You love your neighbor, but you better ask first. You pray on trauma with that holy thirst. You'll catch these hands if you lay hands on me. Without my fucking C-O-N-S-E-N-T. Hey, if you don't get a yes, you never had a sense. Submit, bitch, don't get it then. My body ain't a toy, no, don't even play. Without consent, keep your filthy hands away. No praying, no praying, don't touch, don't speak to me. Without my fucking C-O-N-S-E-N-T. My yes, my no is a no. Bitch, learn your scripture. If you know, you know. You quote the Bible when it benefits you. But fuck your book and fuck you too. You don't have to consent because your God never does. He just takes what he wants and calls it love. Children without asking, punished for doubt. This is what they preach, that love is about. Your Jesus doesn't have to be a man to confide. And I still follow me and don't ask why. Heaven's full of godly men do tell them send me first class straight to heaven. My yes, my no is a no. Bitch, learn your scriptures if you know, you know. You quote the Bible when it benefits you. But my consent ain't subject to you. C-O-N-S-E-N-T. My favorite part coming up. C-O-N-S-E-N-T. C-O-N-S-E-N-T. No praying. No praying. No touch, don't speak to me without my fucking C-O-N-S-E-N-T. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you around the mean streets of TikTok, and I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time for Non-Believers Bible Study. Bye, everybody on YouTube. Have a wonderful day. And I don't know how to close this. That's this. I always get these big endings by not knowing how to.
Empress, your time is up. Gee whiz.
We don't date them.